long time ago, in a YouTube world full of keyboard warriors, many monsters and trolls lurked in the chat rooms. They thrived on arguments amongst each other until one day, a heroine rose from the ashes. She was made from the tears of beta bitches and the sweat of alpha male gym guys. Throughout the centuries, this keyboard warrior princess showed up in many forms. She slayed many demons along the way. By the light of the moon, she led the simp army into battle. Wielding her sword, she fought through the dark forests. With each new era, the monsters evolved. The keyboard warrior princess grew stronger, with new skills to bring them down. The world around her advanced, but so did she. Her heroism became known to society as technology advanced, and with each new generation, she had to learn how to blend in to keep her identity hidden. Now known as the Raging Tomato, this keyboard warrior princess fights for justice in every debate. She fights for freedom, for moderator bias, and she fights for your ability to battle on an open panel for your beliefs. She protects the simp troopers from destruction. She fights to create peace among troll wars. She storms the battle zones without hesitation and leaves the battleground with her pockets full of souls. Are you ready to battle your fellow trolls? Are you ready for a moderator to give you time to talk? Are you ready for justice, peace, and a fair fight? Tune in every Monday night to watch your friends duke out their issues, or join the open panel so that you can fight the good fight and find resolution with your peers.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this week's Moderator Monday. I'm Sarah the Raging Tomato, your grateful host this evening. How was your weekend? Was it well? We've got an interesting topic tonight. I do know, if for anybody that is confused, if you're watching on somebody else's stream, we've got the Princess and we've got Caucasian Sasquatch already linked up and restreaming to theirs as of now. You're going to be with me at least the first 45-ish minutes, 30 to 45-ish minutes, and then I know they're going to be the first ones up here to join the panel. They've got their hot seat fast pass and they're ready to go. So you'll be seeing your hosts here shortly, and stick around, cheer them on, because it's up to you to keep them on panel. Yes, this evening we will be taking votes, and actually the voting polls will be over on my channel, so feel free to stay on your host's channel. But when you'll see the timer on, and in the last 2 minutes, I'll put up the voting poll. So you might want to run over, hit the poll, and head back. But that's the way to keep your friends on panel for the evening. So my bangs are like right in my way. There you go. You just like split them right down the middle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're excited. Who is all here? Roll call. Let's get it all going tonight. I'm excited. And again, tonight's show is going to be run a little bit differently. We're not doing the hot seat this evening. We are doing the hot panel. So Michelle's going to be joining us here shortly. She will be co-hosting with me. She will be in the seat that is normally hot, except she gets to stay the whole night and the panel does not. Oh, that rhymed. I should be a poet. But yes, you heard it right. It is a hot open panel. This means there will be 4 people on the panel at a time. Don't worry. You can, when I drop the link, you can hurry backstage, be one of the first 4. Otherwise, you'll be waiting in line backstage until the next 10 minutes are up. We're going to kick off with the first 4 people on panel. And from there, every 10 minutes, we'll be taking a vote. Now, you can veto. You can veto. You can also purchase immunity. Buy them another 10 minutes. You know what to do. I'll leave it to you. And you can purchase time on that other person's channel. So if somebody else is monetized as well, they can buy you time on your channel. I'm all for everybody getting some love. It doesn't just have to be a donut on mine. So, all right, roll call. Uncle Gun's coming in with the pin with win. It can't be bargained with, reasoned with, and will not stop ever until you have a sandwich. The Terminator. Terminator. I can't even say Terminator. Very well, Uncle Guns. Hey, Sparky, welcome back, my friend. P. Fletch tuning in as well. OPC stopping by to say hi. Hello, OPC Don. AI tomatoes do not make sauce. And of course, P. Fletch with a kind reminder, do not forget to hit the like as you come in, subscribe if you haven't, and maybe drop a donation for the Bratty Tomato Fund. Memberships are also cool and have perks. It all helps. Very true, very true. Caucasian Sasquatch, who is waiting patiently backstage. He chose to show up early, but he's here in the chat with you. He is waiting. He's waiting on standby for his moment. First one in the door. Anybody else with the hot seat fast pass, please, around 9 o'clock, go ahead and make your way back there. And then shortly after you guys arrive, I'll be dropping the link to the public. If you want a hot seat fast pass, feel free to DM me. Yes, just DM me. And I send them out willingly. Doesn't matter. As long as you're willing to show up and have some fun, you want to make your way past the line before the link gets dropped to the public, I happily hand them out. All you got to do is message me and say, hey, I'd like to be on the hot seat fast pass. And I give you the link before anybody else does. Also, we have our Discord run by the amazing Michelle, your favorite wrench here in the chat, probably your favorite wrench everywhere, because she is literally wrenched up everywhere. But she runs our Discord very well. The Nightbot so kindly drops the link to that every so often. So feel free to drop in or share the link as well to your friends. We have Moderator Monday stuff running over there. That's how we operate with finding panelists and communicating. So feel free to do so. Hello, American 101, tuning in on Sasquatch End. Osimanda. Hello to you, my darling, from down under. And Michelle, she will be joining me here in just a little bit, but not just yet. Yeah, she's on her way home. We already knew she was going to be a little later today. She is Central Time. I am East Coast Time. So it works out for me because my kids are going to bed, but she has to get home to tend to hers. So when she's ready, she'll be up here joining us this evening. I hope you all can hear me. I'm assuming you can. I haven't made my way through the chat yet, but we're getting there. Yeet. Let's see. Oh, Sarah, I'm waiting for the West Coast. Oh. Well, that's technically a restream. So all of my interviews, I'm taking them and making some edits, censoring, all of those fun things. So the premiere tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Was already seen a long time ago, but it is behind the membership paywall. So if you are a member, you can access that right now, or anything else that's back there. I don't even know what's back there anymore. It's scary. But all of the interviews are being brought back to surface with censorship and all that fun stuff. And I decided to make it a premiere this time to see what happens with that. So enjoy. Hello, James Farley. How are you? How are you? Lauren, let's Big Jake's Ranch in the house. If I were some corporate efficiency expert, pretty much all work from home jobs would be on my radar for AI replacement. If your physical presence isn't required, train a program to do it, in my opinion. Yes and no. I mean, technically we have, actually I was going over my interview with Lauren today, and we actually discussed the idea of judges after the 2020 thing were choosing to stay home, and they were continuing their work with Zoom calls. I don't know if I want AI being my judge or jury or anything else for that matter, but their presence was not actually required because they could do it all on Zoom. Yes, let's fill the chat with a bunch of tomatoes. I'm in the mood for some tomatoes, folks. Let me see them. And I'll be bringing up our introduction here shortly. But I want to get through and say hello to everybody. 0.357 or I'm guessing this is GUN talk. 357 sig beats 9mm. Hello to you, my friend. Hello. Mackenzie Carter Cameron, confused, right? Wasn't quite sure what was going on. Like, wait a minute, what is this Moderator Monday introduction? This is not Sasquatch's stuff or Princess's stuff. What's going on? Don't be a Mater hater. Hello to you, Beak. Welcome. Let's see who else is here. Nightbot. Nightbot is ever so kind and shows up on time to work every day. Works really hard for you. Everybody send some love to Nightbot. But any links you're looking for, any information, it's all going to be dropped by him or her. I'm not sure. Decentralized information. Let's go. Do not let that AI take over the stream. Hi, I'm Sarah, the Raging Tomato. I'm here to put on a show for you. I'm your host for this evening. Welcome. Please sit back, kick your feet up, get your popcorn. We're ready to go. How's that for AI? I probably could have been Siri. Did I set all of your Siris off? Citizen No, hello to you. Arca V2, welcome back, my friend. Primal salute. James S. Share the grift. Yes, I love to share. That's why anybody that pops on these panels, they're always welcome to restream. I'm all for the sharing is caring kind of process because my content is yours. We share viewers, we share numbers. Let it be. Tales told in the dark. I like your name. Hello to you. Garuda. All right. Melissa. Hello. Old Joe queuing in. He's ready. What up? Only if it has to do with the stream. Don't slide into my DMs looking for anything else. I absolutely despise that stuff. Hi, Dawson. Welcome back. LE Family 1983. Well, hello to you and your whole family. I hope the whole family's not watching. Rebird! The only question is, how long will it take? I don't know. Did I say Lauren? Lauren. Not this one. I didn't even see your thumbnail. Let me go take a look. Yeah, let me go see. Is it funny? I hope it's funny. It's evil looking. I love it. I love it, Sasquatch. That's perfect. That is my kind of thumbnail. I love it. All right, I think I have everybody. Hello, Crystal Phoenix Rising. There's the tomatoes. Here they are coming in. King Philip, welcome back again. Tomatoes on fire. Bring it on. Yes, I just got the notification. Thank you. Glad to see you in there. U-Haul. Is she AI? All right. I think I got everybody. I hope I got everybody. And Arnie Zanzibar. I don't know if he's cloud watching. Hello. Hello to you, Rob. Hello, miss all the Manosphere banter. Yeah, we're trying to actually get away from the Manosphere banter over here. Just because it's so stagnant, you know? I get tired of hearing literally the same arguments again and again and again and again and again. I'm a slide into those DMs. Shut up, April. I love you. Terminator confirmed. Terminator. I can't say it. Let me just do this. Here's what I'm gonna do. Edit. Terminator. I am the Terminator. No face trading. Yeah, we're so tired of you guys just say the same crap over and over and over and over again. Okay, relationships should be like this, and women should be like that, and men should be great, and men are always great, and single moms suck. And it's like, okay, heard it the first 100 times. I'm over it. So let's move on to bigger questions, more interesting topics, new stuff. Boring. I think we've done a pretty good job with separating ourselves from the Manosphere. I mean, we still have a lot of those people in that arena only because, they're a lot of our debate people. But as we keep it expanding, and as more people are jumping into our Discord and as more people are joining the panel, we start learning people and what they like and what they like to argue and their style of argument. And that's how we find people from different communities. We piece them all together and we bring them here for this Moderator Monday. So let's get to the topic, right? Let's do that. Do you want to do that? I want to do that. Let me do this first. La, 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 la. I had to actually kind of waste some time tonight, only because it's a short video tonight. It's short, it's sweet. And I like that it's short and sweet this evening. But that just means I got to have more time talking to all of you. So that's what we're doing. All right, are we ready? Will AI take over our jobs? Well, let's tune in and find out on next week's Moderator.
100 million up to 4 billion jobs lost in the next 5 years. This might sound ridiculously crazy, out of a sci-fi movie or George Orwell's 1984, but it's the truth. It's happening. And in today's video, we're going to go deep down the rabbit hole, and I'll tell you all about it. Welcome. I'm Julie McCoy. If you're new around here, hit subscribe. I explore the rabbit hole of artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and how the
I like how she says rabbit hole. We're all going into the rabbit hole together. Buckle up, Alice.
new era we're living in, called the AI age, the fourth industrial revolution, the technology age, many names for it, but it's a brand new era for humanity. I explore how we get to live a more meaningful life and ditch the mundane thanks to robotics doing 98 to 100% of human labor. If you think critically, you like to go deep and explore the topics do you want to actually hear about, if you're one of those rare people like me, welcome. You've found your home. I'd love to hear from you in the comments on this video. Okay, so let's explore this topic. 100 million up to 4 billion jobs lost in the next 5 years. It's happening. We are hurtling towards full acceleration of this new era of computing, and there's no stopping it.
Does that scare anybody? I mean, some people kind of get a little scared from stuff like this. Like, is AI going to take over, and is it going to turn into the Terminator style? Are we going to all be like Blade Runner, where there's humans that look like robots, or robots that look like humans, and you got to like lift your eyelid to see, double check. Is that scary? Do you think that we're going to get to that point? Like, how deep is deep in terms of like the extent of AI and robotics? How much more human-like would we be capable of making them? I mean, Siri and Alexa sound they're still kind of dumb. Like, my Alexa's really, really dumb sometimes. And I'll tell her that. I'm like, shut up, Alexa, you're stupid. Because she just doesn't compute sometimes. But to think if she got smarter, right? And if I just said, I don't know, Alexa, on Monday I want to make tacos, on Tuesday I want to make spaghetti, on Wednesday I want to make fajitas, on Thursday I want to make chicken parmesan, and on Friday I want to order pizza, and just have her literally order everything that I need within my budget. And even maybe order pizza predetermined, like preset Friday night pizzas already ordered. Like, if she could be that smart, then she'd actually be useful to me, and it takes all the brain work out of it. But she's just too dumb sometimes. There is no AI, people. Is it artificial, or maybe is it real intelligence? It's really real intelligence, right? It's real intelligence. It's just people putting intelligence into computers.
Even if we wanted to try, we probably couldn't. There are 3 big reasons why this many jobs will be displaced. By the way, 100 million jobs in the next 5 years is something Sam Altman has directly said. And if we look at how robotics, AI, and automation will affect the rest of the jobs left, we could easily say it's 4 billion jobs worldwide that will be touched in the next 5 years. Replaced fully, augmented, or roles made redundant and gone forever because they're just not needed. 3 big reasons why that's going to happen. First of all, GPT-5 will be out this year. OpenAI and Sam Altman has been a bit cryptic about what this will include, but Sam has said it will be significantly better than all previous models.
It is helpful though, like all of the Chat GPT stuff, and somebody was saying that here as well. What used to take me days to do writing software, GPT can do in 30 seconds. So, we do have it to our advantage. The question is will it eventually just take over? Like, could you have just someone plug in functioning and then have it write it out? But see, then you have to still be smart enough to double check the work and make sure, like, does this actually make sense? Because you've all seen those pictures where you type into like an AI picture generator and you're like, Margot Robbie dressed as Harley Quinn, reading a book, and she has like 5 thumbs, and then the hand, and you're like, when something went wrong there, so there are still issues that we have to consider when it comes to how well the processing is for the GPT stuff, or picture makers, AI picture makers, or would you depend on AI to drive you? Like, if AI was an Uber driver, would you trust it? Would you trust a human more than you would trust a robot? Or would you trust a robot more than you would trust a human? I mean, humans make mistakes too. Interesting.
And it will take people by surprise. GPT-5 will take GPT from 1.5 trillion parameters into the 2 to 5 trillion parameters. For reference, our brains are a neural network of 100 trillion connections. Computing is catching up with the human brain, finally, after centuries of research. Back in the 40s, the first neural net was drawn out on a piece of paper, and computer scientists back then envisioned something they called a thinking machine. They were laughed at by the general public. And now we've recreated neural networks and the computing ability to run them. And we're 10xing technology every 6 months. That's wild. That means we've left Moore's Law far behind. We've actually broken Moore's Law. One of the biggest changes GPT-5 will bring is to change GPT itself and transform it from chatbot into agent. This will mean the AI model can assign tasks to submodels or connect to different services and perform real-world actions on its own.
So that kind of took me for a little bit of a loop there, trying to think of like one AI management system being able to tap into like other different types of, I'm guessing, processors or functions, right? So it's like, maybe this specific AI can only write, and this specific AI can only create pictures, and this specific AI can only hi Torsha, hi, and this specific AI can only make music, and this specific AI can drive cars, and maybe, like, to me, this is my understanding. I could be wrong in how I understand it. I'm not the smartest person here, but the way I'm understanding it is like one AI can like tap into what it needs and make them all crossfire and make things happen to not only write you a story, but also color you a picture and write a song to go along with it while driving you to work at the same time. That's what I'm understanding. I could be wrong. So if anybody does want to come up on panel and correct me on the agent thing and how it works, Adam, get your tinfoil hats on, Adam87. Skynet written all over it. I'm dead. I am dead.
This aligns with the idea of AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, which is autonomous AI that can function on its own, much like a human would. When we reach AGI, we will have a level of AI and robotics that can supersede the human at the majority of tasks we as humans do. And with GPT-5 launching with these rumored capabilities, We will either be on the brink of or actually uncover AGI. Secondly, NVIDIA's foundation agent models. These are the AI neural networks changing the game, trained on massive amounts of raw data. This is the Wild West of AI because a lot of it is unsupervised learning. NVIDIA
Unsupervised learning, Skynet, what? And Michelle says, I can't wait until there are Uber drivers I don't have to talk to. Now, this is where I have the conundrum. Certainly, I don't like it when mine talk a whole lot either, although I like to make fun little conversation and be polite. And I usually make them laugh and it's peaceful. And I only have them for 5 minutes because the bar I go to is really close, so it's not a long ride. So a 5 minute, let me make you laugh kind of thing isn't that bad. Now, if it's 30 minutes, no, we're not talking. But can AI socialize with you? Right? So if we have robotic cars, if we have I don't know, a housemaid that's a robot, like, it's like having another person there, but there's no socialization. Or if we're having AI run all of our work for us, like we're taking out the collaboration between people and putting minds together. Now, I do understand the raw data and, concept and bringing all of these different AI systems together, but like we're tapping out of that social aspect of it. And that's human, that's part of society. Like we work together to work together. So it is kind of a scary concept if you think about it. When you completely remove the human, then you also remove the human touch. There's no empathy unit. There's no emotional cues, emotional intelligence. AI doesn't feel, right? It doesn't understand how to put itself in somebody else's shoes. It just read something somewhere, found something on the web, and pieced it all on a piece of paper for you, but there's no real emotions behind it. Yahooligan says it's the Wild West of AI because none of this is actual AI. It's all marketing. If there is an AI out there in the world, the public would not know about it. Tinfoil hat time. Somebody bring out the lizard people. Fair enough.
His foundation agent models are spanning everything. Every modality, from embodiment to math to spatial computing, everything is going into these models.
What if work?
Oh, dang it.
What could be achieved?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me remove the screen. Sorry. I pay for everything else. YouTube, whatever that is, to skip ads is not going to be one of them. Only because I pay for so much else to stream that this is not one that's important to me. All right, we'll get back to it. There we go. So that is kind of a weird. Oh crap! I forgot. I forgot this. Like I went to hit the share screen and I didn't hit the right button. I've been sitting here watching it. I'm so stupid. I swear to God, I hit the button. I just forgot to add it to the stage. Let me back it up a minute. Oh, that's so funny. Just eating the dinner. All right. Yeah. Total blonde moment. I wasn't even watching the chat. What a tart. It's been a long day. Okay. Yeah. See, if I was AI, I wouldn't have forgot.
robotics. We have two big worlds in AI right now: the replication of human reasoning, LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, etc., and the replication of human behavior. That's robotics. That's humanoids learning how to fold laundry, assemble cars, work in warehouses. Boston Dynamics recently launched the all-new Atlas. Check out this thing. They essentially ditched the old hydraulics, slow, cumbersome Atlas, and they launched this all new version, which is a fully electric humanoid. It is a breakthrough after.
I just want to know if this thing can clean toilets. Listen, if it can take all of that stupid work off my plate, I will buy. But my question also is like investing. We'll get to that here in just a minute.
Decades of research that Boston Dynamics has done, and they're calling it the world's most dynamic humanoid robot. Between GPT-5 coming out either this summer or this fall, NVIDIA's foundation agent models, and what's happening in robotics, we are going to see so many jobs displaced. And we quite likely in the next year to 5 years will also have AGI because of these breakthroughs. Not to mention, Microsoft and OpenAI are pouring $100 billion into an AI supercomputer they're calling Project Stargate, rumored to be built somewhere here in the US in the desert, hopefully Arizona. That would be cool. And they say that they will have a supercomputer up and running by 2028. Again, just another.
But I do question kind of like the bubble burst. Like we're putting all of this like money into something, and I'm sure there's a lot of investors investing in it and so on and so forth, and I hope that they can produce as much as they believe they can, right? I know that we have great imaginations and we have amazing engineers out there. It's not to say that they can't, but tapping all of this money into, you know, something like, number one, there has to be a market for whatever they're going to eventually make out of it. But number two, it's like, it has to be a sellable item and it has to be affordable, you know? So, I mean, my guess would they would go for the businesses first, right? Let me see what I can sell to the businesses first, because that's where we'll like reap all of our money back in a lot of ways, right? But then like, how do you put it into personal use, you know, like where are we getting the personal use out of it? And I think they're kind of training us now with all the chat GPT and all of those things. Like they're kind of like already training us to get used to using AI. And this way, when it becomes like, you know, when it advances and becomes other things, we're not as afraid of it, right? We're just like, oh, this is where I just type something in, or, you know, whatever, or I can have her clean my toilet, whatever. Who said it? There we go. Wait till the bots take over the sex work too. Yeah, that would be kind of creepy. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a fetish for it. At least it'll be clean, you hope. I mean, how do you clean that? Ooh. or is there another robot that comes on and cleans it? I don't know, but maybe it'll be safer. And if they beat up the AI robot, it won't hurt anybody.
Their pinpoint in the timeline of 5 years. So you may be asking yourself, well, what the hell should I be doing if this many jobs, up to 4 billion around the world, are going to be displaced by AI, automation, and robotics? Listen to what David Shapiro, former
Well, I will say, well, for starters, let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link so you guys can start piling in. Remember, first 4 are the first 4 on the panel. And then you hang backstage and you will be in line after that. So let's go ahead and drop this so you guys can start getting your place in there. And let me pin it. There you go. So even though I think we will still be replacing jobs, right? I mean, the scribe lost their job when typewriters were made, or the publications, you know, like running newspapers through a printer. Like you no longer had to handwrite anything. So if you were a scribe, it was like, okay, now you're not a scribe anymore. So that even though people will be displaced from normal, jobs of whatever they're doing that can be replaced, I think that we still will find a new job for that person, right? With a new purpose, maybe a greater purpose, maybe something that's even easier, like they're just utilizing the AI to, get their get something done even faster. Now we can actually produce more work and get more done, So, I, anyways, yeah, go ahead and start hopping backstage if you want to join the panel.
Corporate technologist turned AI thought leader and YouTuber says about a post-labor economics world.
In a post-labor economics world, then the definition, like what is it that you're trying to aim for? You don't necessarily need economically productive citizens. You need civically engaged citizens, sure, but you need thoughtful people that are good at communication. There's all kinds of other things that you can do. Now, also in this hypothetical future that I hope to see and hope to help create is that a lot of people are going to be working a lot less.
Something he said is really critical to think about. We are not going to need economically productive citizens. We're going to need civically engaged citizens. So when you think about the skill sets we should shift into to get ready for this change, well, that's communication, emotional intelligence, the ability to be around people and treat them with kindness, empathy, the ability to lead projects, work inside of a team, being on your own, working aloofly, not taking care of yourself, putting mundane tasks first, being unkind, non-empathetic. Those are character traits you want to ditch. Learn to be communicative, learn to communicate well with others, exist well with others, find your tribes and be an integral part of them. If you look at societies in the past, we had civically engaged citizens. Many of them inherited estates or were appointed to estates, and they never needed to work their whole life. They simply needed to engage in their location, lead initiatives, benefit society and the economy. They didn't necessarily need to work. So we've had these patterns before in history, but because of the Industrial Revolution, we were pushed into 9-to-5s, early school time, homework. We have had industrial thinking and institutionalized ways of thinking for way too long. If you look at the Gallup poll that was done a couple years ago across 1 billion workers, it was found that over 80% of people are unhappy at work, with the value of the fiat dollar falling, the cost of education bringing no ROI. In fact, it said that education in America kills the creativity a child is born with. Well, my question is the world we live in an ideal world? Or could this breakthrough of robotics replacing millions of jobs actually give us a chance to pursue more meaning and get back to—
I don't know if school kills creativity. Some of the best stories I wrote, I didn't even know I could write until I was in school. I think it was maybe 3rd or 4th grade, and they had us start to write. And I realized I really liked creative writing, and I liked writing altogether. If somebody asked me to write a 30-page research paper, I'd be like, ooh, yeah, let's do it. I love to write. But yeah, I think, yeah, you're right, Hotep. It does depend on the school, of course. But, I think in our current society as it stands, your ability to most people wouldn't even have the ability to know how to write or draw or do creative things or even discover their musical talents or whatever if they didn't have school. And that's only because our families are not based around the concept of exploration per se, within all of these different things. So, but book Raging Tomato book coming soon. Yeah. I'll write a book about the manosphere and how it's just burning in hell. But I don't think that creativity necessarily kills, or I'm sorry, I don't think school kills creativity. I think, especially in today's society, most people wouldn't never have the opportunity to discover these talents or creative portions of themselves if it weren't for going to school.
To being a human. We aren't called human doings. We are called human beings. And we are entering an era where, for the first time in history, Our success won't rely on our productivity, and we won't have to kill ourselves in order to build a relaxing life later.
And I also think she's speaking to a lot of productivity and stuff, and that's great. But if companies create like invest all of this money into creative, like let's say we build this amazing machine that can create all of the vegetables you need, vegetables, fruit, everything you need, to feed, I don't know, your entire town, like, yeah, that would be great, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't have to work anymore. We'd still get charged out the wazoo just to have one. Like our society doesn't work. We're capitalists. We're like, oh, that's great. A machine that could literally feed everybody for the rest of their lives. How much do we charge? Not let's make it for the greater good. Like that's just the cold hard facts. We're not humanitarians. We're capitalists.
I'm optimistic about what this will bring. And I think that knowledge about what's coming is your first step. And then your second step is to ask yourself, how can you start pursuing a life of meaning? Because that will only benefit you when robotics replaces this many jobs. Let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments. You know what to do. As always, be sure to subscribe.
Far down the rabbit hole. Yeah, I think it's actually a little bit scarier to think about if we're doing AI and we're adding it in, or, automation to all of our careers, because again, we are capitalists. We're not going to look at how can we help society. We're going to look at how can we help our pockets. We had that capitalism discussion not long ago, if you remember from a couple weeks ago. All right, I do have my first 4 victims and one additional one to bring into the next round. I see Caucasian Sasquatch, Garuda, Aussie, and the Princess. They will be up on panel here shortly. Primal, you are on deck for the next round. Who's ready to rumble? I know I am. Let's do it. Oh, did I switch? Did I have my new one there? Oh, I think I did. All right. Where's my video? See, I got everything all messed up now. Damn it. All right.
Release the Kraken!
All right, hopefully that works out. Okay, and then when Michelle joins up, she will be over on the other side here. I did a new layout today. Well, not today, the other day, but I'm kind of excited for it. Hopefully it's a little less distracting and a little easier to see. Can I get a mic check from everyone? Garuda, let's start with you. Garuda.
Not a great start.
Garuda, say hello, please. Garuda.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we hear you now. All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
so
Hold
hello,
on, hold on just a second. We're just doing a quick mic check. Sasquatch, you next.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, thank you, Osimanda.
Hey, Sarah.
Hello, and Princess to you.
What up, stream? What up, chat?
All right, thank you guys. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Normally we do the hot seat, but we're gonna start with a hot panel. So what we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna give you, we get 10 minutes here. That comes up on the screen, and we're gonna go ahead and start talking. Since you are the first panel, I do want everybody to kind of establish a foundation, and then we'll start moving from there. So Garuda, let's start with you. Just a quick brief, like 1 minute, opening statement of where you stand on the AI.
My stand on AI is basically like I cannot put a celebrity defect in AI because you have to actually build it. So when it comes to like an AI, then I might be okay banging an AI, but I don't think it's like good. I'd rather a woman than an AI or robot.
You'd rather a woman than an AI robot. Fair enough. Caucasian Sasquatch to you.
So I'm not completely convinced that AI hasn't already taken over. I mean, after all, it determines the news that you watch, it determines the links that you click, it determines what you see on YouTube and various other platforms. So who's really in control here?
That's a good point. Osimanda.
AI is slowly taking over jobs. I know in warehousing they are slowly taking over my jobs. So, yep.
So you have personal experience.
Yep.
All right, to you, Princess.
Damn, it sounds like a lot of us are already in agreement, but my opinion is not too different. I think AI is definitely going to have a big impact on jobs. I think just sort of how much the impact is going to be. I think there'll still be expert level roles, but I think a lot of the entry level, junior level roles will be gone and replaced by AI.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave it to the panel to start paneling. Open floor. Frances, why don't you elaborate a little further on your thought process there?
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons, I think it was to me, but feel free to jump in after this. I think one thing that makes it so tricky is I think there's definitely going to be a lot of job loss. There'll be some amount of new jobs created with AI, but I do think in general it's going to lead to overall a loss of jobs where, like I said earlier, a lot of the entry level, junior level, base entry level jobs will be taken up by AI jobs. So there will be new roles, but there's going to be more expert level roles. So they'll not be accessible to the average person. Anyone feel differently?
Well,
No,
I disagree. I disagree though, because I'd rather be like, oh, I have like a bunch of flowers, all right, because this AI robot is harassing my human females on Earth though. So I would actually go over there and just be like, oh, robot, what's this? And just like, I have flowers, and the robot like, what is that? That is flowers. And then like have a taser and like fucking boop and tase the robot so I could get to my women and say, make sure they're okay.
So wait, are you pro AI or anti AI? I'm so a little confused.
I am pro human women rather than AI female sex bots, if that's what you ask.
Well, what do you think about them AI taking over jobs? Not just sex bots.
I'd rather get a meal from a woman who could cook rather than a machine and a robot that could actually make a meal. No, I'd rather trust a woman than a robot woman, fake woman.
Now, what about a robot taking over like a general administrative position? So she schedules, like the robot schedules all of the calendars, sets up all of the meetings, makes all of the phone calls, and screens people as well.
Oh my God, I am a robot. Would you beg me? Oh, I have a vagina. Like, no, I want a woman. I just like what she said. Like, I was just like, oh, you cute. I want to bang you. So yeah, I prefer a woman
Give me coffee and the donut.
Woman robot though.
Okay, so what about building, like doing the mechanical engineering or architectural engineering for building a building, a robot, like AI per se, not even a robot, but AI actually structurally developing a building, blueprints.
Well, we could have a bunch of human beings. So I'm not gonna like deny robots because I guess robots might like be salty if they listen to this, but I prefer human beings. So like I was like, oh, Sarah Bear. So we could come to as human beings and just like, oh, this is like a sector. But robots are like, oh, you plug me in, like, hi, I'm awake. It's like, what is your battery gonna run out? So I prefer humans over robots. Or
You realize like we already have AI like ChatGPT, and it doesn't run on batteries. I don't know if you know how it works.
Is that a robot though?
No, yeah, because you have to plug them into lithium, because the robots that we have to have is lithium batteries. Just like I didn't want to be like plugging my robot. It was like even if I had a sex robot, the robot would like it's twerking. I was like, oh, calm down, twerking. I already fucking finished. So relax and just like chill. And the robot would just be dormant. And like, can I go to sleep? And it's like, I don't give a fuck. And the robot was like, but I need to use permission to go to sleep.
I think
Maybe we need some
So
clarification.
Zero, I got you here.
Go ahead.
So like,
'Cause-
come on.
Oh, and Garuda, you're getting booted.
early start.
Primal, you're on. I hope you're ready.
I think I can actually pivot off that though, because I do think one of the unintentional negative effects of AI is it's very power hungry today. And right now, I think it's not coming from like green sources. So I could see that being an argument. I don't think that's what he's talking about with the lithium batteries, but I'm gonna make a good faith argument where currently, yeah, they're the Gen AI, it's very power hungry, and we are not getting that from green places as of right now.
Agreed. The thing is, there seems to be a bit of a miscongruence here. When we say robots, I'm thinking more along the lines of the physical mechanism that walks around and does things. When you say bot, you're talking about the program that might run that physical mechanism, but in its rawest form, the bot is merely a group of programs and nothing else. Whereas a robot is a physical entity.
I think that's pretty accurate.
And Sarah, the answer to your question about building architecture with robot AI, it's more, I would not let AI do it for the actual fact of you want humans to do it so there's no errors. Because these are going to be structural buildings and you don't want casualties later on down the track.
I don't think you're wrong, but I think it's kind of a bold assumption to make to think humans don't make mistakes. So why is it any better if a human is doing this? Humans make mistakes all the time. Why is it better that if a human does it versus an AI? Dumped. I got him.
Sorry, that was a quick. I saw 15 minutes, so I went to go put away some laundry because I didn't have my AI robot to do it for me, and I came back and I saw. Oh, we're up apparently. So
Garuda got booted pretty quick. Michelle super chatted to boot him.
Oh, gotcha. Well, good to see you all. I missed the past like 2 or 3 minutes because I was in the other room.
That's
Because, like
okay.
I said, my laundry bot wasn't taking care of business. So,
I want one.
but yeah, kind of. If somebody wants
a
to.
magical hamper. All I do is put my clothes in the hamper, and magically they get washed and are folded and put in my drawer. It's amazing. You should get one.
Yeah, and Sarah, I heard the kind of intro premise of give them like 30 seconds of your stance. Basically, is that kind of what?
Yeah, yeah.
And the robot
Yeah.
starts with a W.
Woman.
Yeah, definitely pro technology, pro advancement. Even if that means, I think you said it earlier, there was a time where people harvested all their wheat by hand, right? But then we developed technology, and then yes, some jobs were lost, but new jobs were created because we had time and ability to do these new and more advanced technologies. So I would say, generally speaking, the less skilled jobs per se that can be easily manufactured into a robot will be the first to go, but eventually even higher skill jobs will go eventually, and it'll be more of an idea of, do you want a robot to do the job? Like, yeah, you're okay with a robot making your hamburger, but are you okay with a robot doing your surgery? I think we will get to a point in the next 25 years or so where the robot is skilled enough to do the surgery. But
I'm the opposite.
but do you want a real doctor to do it, or do you want a robot doctor to do it? So that'll be a dilemma.
A robot doctor didn't do a roll of cocaine when they woke up this morning. I know
And
that for a fact.
Yep.
And when it comes to flipping a burger, a robot can get away with that and make an error, and it won't necessarily kill anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the funny part about it is a lot of robots, we'll talk about, can they be a learning robot and learn more as they go, or is it all algorithmic? And then what happens in a quote unquote not traditional situation where somebody needs to make a judgment call? Does the robot make the right decision? But also, does the human make the right decision? Who do you want in control of that situation? Do you want a human or do you want a robot? And these are some of the dilemmas that people will get to the point of, do I have more faith in robots or humanity? And kind of go where you will with that.
To buff kind of what you're saying, yeah, I do think a lot of people make the assumption like, oh, it's if it's done by humans, it's going to be safer and have less flaws. I think that's shown not to be the case. Definitely, there's going to be room for improvement. For example, like AI driven cars, we're definitely not there where we can be fully autonomous cars. But to me, like, it looks like the inevitable endpoint in technology is that it will be safer than the human driver when it gets fully perfected.
Yeah, because at some point, if it becomes fully perfected, you'll never have a drunk AI robot driver. It will never get tired behind the wheel. It will just do its job. Now, will we have bumps along the way, metaphorically and literally? Yes, of course we will, because technology is not perfect. But every time we advance in technology is on this kind of crazy J curve, right? Like once you hit a certain threshold, it kind of just takes off and grows exponentially. So we will get there at a point where it's certain things will be safer to be done by a robot, but certain things people won't want. Like, I don't want a robot doctor. I don't want a robot police officer, because what if they do something that I didn't think, they weren't operating in the way that they should have, or had some critical thinking aspect to it. Like, wasn't there a whole movie with Will Smith about that at some point where, then the robots go rogue and they determine that people are the bad thing. And if we just get rid of all people, then there's no more problem. Like, those are some of the dilemmas we end up facing at some point.
The movie you're referencing to is iRobot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was trying to remember what was the message of that film by the end. I forget.
It was basically that they handed over humanity's future to these police robots, and they determined that people were the problem. So if we just got rid of people, then the people were hurting the people. So if we get rid of the people, then they can't hurt the people. Yeah.
It was a classic AI solution.
That wasn't to get rid of people. It was to get rid of the free will. It was people doing things and making decisions that were an issue. Yeah. Anyone that didn't immediately abide by what the robot said would be immediately eliminated. And so the uncontrollable ones were taken out of society.
Yeah, you can't do bad if you're not here to do bad, basically. Yep.
I'm jumping off the bad versus good. What gets tricky is, even with like something like AI cars, you do have to start like programming morality to some extent. Like, we're not there yet, but like if you're like designing the AI for a car, you decide like if the car is going to decide hit like a group of two people versus one. What is the car going to decide to do in that moment? If it has to do one or the other, we have to kind of program that in.
Imagine programming a trolley problem into a artificial intelligence, right? Like that's essentially what I get out of that. The other thing is, what if, let's say your wife is in labor, but the AI program will only allow you to go the speed limit. And then you say, no, I'm in labor. I need to get to the hospital now, exceed the speed limit, and it refuses to do so. Like what happens in those situations as well?
Have you ever seen
You turn on manual and you raw dog it. That's what happens.
Well, then that's the question. Will they even? And here's the other ethical dilemma. Will they even have a manual thing, or will only certain people be allowed to have the manual override button? Hey, you know what? From a safety perspective, would it be great to be able to shut down a criminal car remotely by just flipping a switch, and the police have that power? I think so. But also, who has all that power, and what are the checks and balances there?
Oh, I bet Spicoli will have some great insight on this topic.
Aussie had to jump. Go ahead, Spicoli. You got less than 3 minutes before the panel switches.
I'm on now, you're saying, to give my spiel, right?
You're on.
All right, first I'd like to say hello. Francis, hello. Primal, hello. Sarah, hello. First, I'd like to say there's good news and bad news. We already know the bad news. Most of your jobs are gone. But here's the good news. There's two good pieces of news. As you incels age, or you guys that never got married or don't have kids like me, let's face it, in 20 years, we're not going to have people to take care of us unless it's some Filipino or Mexican. So I think in 20 years, we're going to have robots that will be at home taking care of us, wiping our asses if we need to. So that's part of the equation that I'm looking forward to, buying a robot for myself. Now, for you younger guys, I suggest you save your money now, because We know that the future holds you for your relationships. You're either going to be stuck with a fat chick or a transgender woman. There's not going to be a lot of thin available women out there. So sex bots. I think the other good news, Sarah and Primal and Process, is we're going to have sex bots coming on. And I believe it's by 2050 at the latest. I want to hear it here. By 2050 at the latest, I believe these doctors will help create an artificial vajayjay that will be better than a transgender woman's, but not quite as good as the real one. But I think the fact that they're experimenting with these trans women now is going to help us. Here's the good news. The fact that they're working on these the neo vajayjays on the transgender women is because it will help us get to the neo vaginas we're going to need on our sex bots in the future by 2050. So you guys said by 2050, Sarah, any guy 18, 19, 20 will no longer be a virgin because he's going to have a sex bot. Fucky fuck, I believe. And you think it's a joke, but I think it's the truth. Look at Blade Runner 2. The future is sex bot, and that's reality for most people. Here's the future. Here's 4 things. You can either marry a fat chick if you want sex. You're gonna have to pay for play. You're gonna have to be with a transgender woman, or you're gonna have to be with a sex bot by the year 2050. That's it.
Fair enough.
So by
Gary.
2050, I'll be that.
And the chat
All
has
right, Sarah,
voted,
what-
Gary. You're getting booted to the back. You can get back in line. For
Well, I'm
Spicoli.
going to take a shower now, Sarah.
All right, enjoy
But
your
I
shower.
want to
Bye.
say thank you. And if Base Oracle, if you're up here, you're welcome to come up here. Sarah, we would like to see you Thursday night. We would like to see you on. We had a spot for you on Grace's dating show last Thursday. We were hoping you'd call in.
Oh, I didn't get the invite.
Process. He's the host of the show. Will you remember to invite her next time? Seriously.
Actually, I was going to ask that earlier because I know you do a show Thursday, but we'd love to have you when you're done Thursday night.
Yeah, just shoot me the link. We'll
We
see.
would.
No promises because school starts this week for the kiddos, and whew, it's been a lot already.
Oh.
But yeah, probably.
If you like
All right,
stuff, the
bye,
subject-
Gary. We love you. It always.
Bye, Scully. Bye, Scully.
And
Scully.
just a quick shout out to OPC Don doing the drive-by with the $2. Everyone, please support the Bready Tomato Fund. Thank you, OPC Don. And Michelle coming in with the $4.99 to boot Garuda. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can boot people or you can bring people back up if they're backstage.
I'm disappointed in every one of you who did that. Boot Spigoli sooner.
Yeah.
I voted the Boots Spicoli purely on his mic.
Primal, I knew that you had a black shepherd and a white shepherd, but I did not know you had a classic saddleback shepherd. Is this a new dog?
I put water on one of them, and it was kind of late at night, and they just started multiplying from that point. That's how that works. So.
Gremlins.
I hate it when they do that.
Yep. No, that's Stacy. She had a like traditional black and tan style. So that's how that works.
Nice.
Yep.
That's fair. I'm going to keep it at 15 minutes for now because we don't have a full backstage or anything. And they're kind of like, oh, Garuda. Wait. Garuda, I'll put you up next. Sorry. Yeah, we don't have a full backstage. So I'm going to do 15-minute rounds just for now. Unless it starts to fill up, then we'll sink it down to 10 again. All right. Panel's yours. Justin, since you're the newcomer, if you want to drop a quick 30-second
Sure.
thought process.
Technically speaking, artificial intelligence doesn't even exist yet. ChatGPT is not an AI, technically speaking. We're 25 years away from that as it is right now. We don't even have the computer that could run a technically speaking AI. But to use the term AI in the McDonald's sense that this whole panel is basically using it, it will take your jobs. We want it to take your jobs. The goal should be for no one to have to work. But there'll always be jobs for someone to do, as Princess, I believe, or was it Primal? One of you gentlemen.
A little bit of
pointed
both.
out. There'll always be jobs. I don't necessarily agree. I think it was Princess pointed out that those jobs might be over some people's heads. I don't necessarily believe that. You can train anybody to do anything. with enough time and money.
I want some clarity. Just because you said ChatGPT, or you said the stuff out there is not currently AI. Are you just saying like language models in general are not AI?
It's automation. It's just programmed to respond in a way that is human-like, which you could still argue that it's AI-like.
I cannot do that, Dave.
But technically speaking, like artificial intelligence, like a program that can think for itself and make decisions beyond its programming, doesn't even technically exist. I'm not even sure that there's hardware enough in the world. As again, I heard someone on the panel said that we're already taxing our systems as it is with these automated responses that we get.
Do you think it's an inevitable though? Like we will get there at some point, whether it's
Absolutely.
5 years or 50 years. I mean, it's an inevitable, right?
Yeah, the timeline right now, the last I heard or read about was like another 25 years. And then we'll have actual artificial intelligence. I think the quantum computing is going to have to come into play first. Because
Yes.
like binary machines are not really going to get us there.
I think
When
it's
you say,
important-
oh, go ahead.
I think it's important to kind of point out, like objectively, where we are right now. Right now, and I'm speaking more to like the robot side of automation, but like we are so not at our automation potential. Nobody in the world is right now. There's huge gaps between like the marketing, the funding, and then you have all these old business owners that simply don't want to invest that kind of capital into something that is new and crazy and never before and customized. And business owners like things that are safe and tried and true and turnabout profit right away. And so there's like all of these blockades when it comes to like our automation potential in general. So we almost need to catch up to where we are right now. Like, yeah, we're not to like the point of the quantum computer, but we don't need to be. As for those jobs, we're going to be upscaling those jobs, and the jobs that we're replacing, nobody wanted those jobs anyway. Like, these welding jobs, like they haven't returned to work. We've been waiting on them for the last freaking 4 years. We have robots that can do the spot welding. But your old welders are going to be your best QA guys later. So that's where the jobs are going to move to in the light of AI. But like we still need to push into our potential where it is right now.
I do agree. We're definitely, it's going to be a shift. I think the problem is, I think there's going to be a lot less jobs available wherever we end up. At least that's my current take. And I'm kind of curious because even if, for example, ChatGPT is not a true AI, I think it's still good enough. We might not fully automate things like have fully walking around robots around warehouses, but like something like for example like a lawyer chatbot, like I think we didn't think that would be a thing a year ago, and now it seems like that's going to be a pretty accurate thing in the next like 4 years. It won't replace like going to actual lawyer, but lawyers are super expensive and people are cheap, so I think a lot of people are going to end up using a free lawyer chatbot if that's available to them, for example.
I'm not 100% convinced that AI is going to remain or be free, for that matter.
It's
so
probably
even
still cheaper than an
AI
actual lawyer, but yeah.
Yeah, even an AI lawyer or an AI that's programmed to respond, like a program that's programmed to respond or react to a moment, it still won't be technically free. There's no way.
And Garuda, just to let you know, you're on now. Caucasian Sasquatch had to drop down for a few minutes. So Garuda, you are on if you are still with us, my friend.
Yes, I'm with you, my darling. So
Okay.
yes, that's good because no matter how much the AI robot is, because human being, no matter who you are, creed, skin color, race, or gender, it doesn't matter. Because the government will always treat you like a piece of shit. So basically what I'm saying is like we need to come together so we could fucking stop that from happening. I know it's gonna be a hard leap, but at least we don't have to pay taxes. But however though, if I go to jail, it's just like cause I would go to like I got out of prison, it's like fuck. I was like finally, and I tell this woman or womaness as a judge or man, whatever. I was like, look, I'll tell you straight up. I need to get out of like the shackles though, because I'll tell you straight up, because what they said, it was a complete lie. And also too, I believe in I love everyone, and then just like you have to. That's why I got better acted. Like so. No, hunters better acted or hunters acted. So basically, if I go back to jail again, I will never leave the insane asylum.
You know, sometimes I just have a hard time figuring out where you're going with your.
Yeah, I'm a little lost.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to gauge what Process was saying a little bit earlier about kind of there being less jobs. Can we pivot to that, back to that for a moment? Is that cool?
No, yes,
Sounds
it's
good to me.
cool. No, that's no. I give you permission. Cool, because I'm a truck driver and actually I serve in the military. But I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm insane because I want to fly a plane. But it's like you don't want me to fly a plane. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bitches. And I'll fucking turn the plane upside down and just like, yeah, you want to scream now? Huh? Like, shut the fuck up. And then fucking like fly the plane back into the country.
Oh, okay.
That's horrible for me to do though.
AI's taking
but I will
jobs.
do that.
Let's
though.
talk about that.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, and kind of directed towards Process. So with there being quote unquote less jobs, what would you think that would be the next step in that? I would say something like things that were not traditionally jobs that people did would become jobs. Like, for example, all right, do we send more people into space? And is there an effort to try to expand something in that regard, whether it's a space program, or do we, this is, futuristic, do we try to terraform or anything like that? Is that kind of where we end up going with that process, do you think? Or what's your take on that?
Good question. I would like to hear if anyone else has proposed solutions. I definitely have some ideas, but I don't know what's going to be the best one. The one that I think is kind of the most interesting is universal basic income. At least I think that might be a potential way to address it, because I do feel like, I think I agree with the rest of the panel where it's more so a question of when, not if. It's more so a matter of time. I don't know if it's going to be 5 years or 25 years, but I think we're going to see a loss in jobs at some point due to AI. And I do like the analogy of like the industrial revolution, where there are going to be new jobs, but I think it's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be a lot less. I wonder if there's any other solutions, but I do think the UBI is an interesting one.
I think the AI and the whole job situation is just going to allow the individual to do more. So in the case of a truck driver, or someone mentioned a truck driver, instead of that one truck driver having to spend 14 hours on the road getting his load from one end of the country to the other, they'll just be in the loading dock managing 20 rigs operated artificially down the roadways, and that one person will basically be the truck driver for 20 different trucks simultaneously, managing, watching, loading, unloading, what have you.
So effectively, everybody in the workforce would become a manager. They would just be managing robots and AI, essentially, painting with a broad brush.
I would have to imagine there's some kind of like human eye is going to have to remain on something, unless the job becomes really menial. Like, I would even imagine like a janitorial or custodian position, there would still be a human involved, even though now they're managing 18 floor mopping robots that are, patrolling an area. And I think that would stay there. And then they would all get trained on a certain level of maintenance that would be required, right? And, a floor mopping robot is still going to need to get filled up with water. Sure, it might have a dock that it drives into, what have you, gets filled up with water, but, wheel falls off. I don't see that that's a major repair bill. You shouldn't have to ship that thing out just to get the wheel fixed. The person in charge should be able to put that wheel back on.
So if history is our guide, what happened the last time we had a big technological boom that freed up a lot of jobs? And to be honest, I haven't really thought about it. But like, what happened? What did people start doing? And like, what was the next step? Because I feel like if you solve a problem, essentially, then humanity is going to take the next step. I feel like historically we did that numerous times in our history. So we'll take the next step, whatever that is. I just don't know.
I think a great example is the assembly line, which then led into the conveyor belt, right? Sure, things got a lot quicker, but we still have people on those lines watching things go by. Quality control. I mean, you'll see lines and lines of people still pulling out the bad piece that the AI missed. You know what I mean? There's computers and machines that can sort literally a bad apple from a bunch, but we still have people at the very bottom end of that conveyor belt using human eyes and human hands to pull the ones the machines didn't get.
I wrote an interesting article backstage I know this is because AI is kind of new and still working on it, but in a recent survey, 70% of employees reported AI has increased their workloads and hampered productivity. Again, I'm not sure if it's because these are new tools, maybe they'll get better, but interesting to see that actually, as of right now, employees are kind of reporting that it's kind of making their life worse. It's increasing their workloads, actually making their productivity worse. Does anyone have any strong opinions on that?
Do you think it's like training a new person at your job where it takes more work for you initially to train the new person how to do the job and you're kind of doing twice the job and then eventually they learn how to do it and you hand the reins over? Because I'm sure somebody's precepted or coached a new person and you have to work harder for a brief time, but eventually you kind of stand back and let them do the job and you're just there to support them at some point. I feel like it could be an example of that potentially.
I think it definitely could be that, and someone else feel free to jump in. I think also it could be because we live in a capitalist society that tends to take advantage of people's effectiveness in the workplace. I do wonder if because it's making people more productive, maybe some people end up doing the role of 2 or 3 people, where previously that was one person's role, and so they end up taking a lot more responsibility. With some of it's is easier thanks to AI, but I bet it's not as simple as that sometimes.
Well, that same capitalist society is what's going to encourage the growth as well. The reason why that one guy would need to control 12 or 20 transport trucks to bring merchandise to the different locations, it's the same capitalist society. The capitalists are just trying to find a way to sell more quicker and get it there as fast as possible at the cheapest cost possible. And if they can pay one guy 60 grand a year or 20 guys 40 grand a year, I think the choice is obvious.
And just to be clear, I don't say that in a bad way. Just capitalism is really good at extracting value from labor, and I expect it to continue.
Yeah. No, I'll be curious as to what impact it has on some of the more creative fields too. Like we talk about art in movies and music and that kind of thing. When AI starts to dabble in those arenas, do they do it as well as us? Do they do it better than us? Do they do it worse? What is the quality, I guess, of these subjective kind of things? Because art is not, you could make arguments, but I would say most people would say it's to a degree subjective of this is good or this is bad. So one of the
safer fields is actually going to be the heals field. So anything medical, although AI will definitely push in and help our medical professionals, we still need the nuance and the fast thinking of our people and our doctors, taking in different symptoms and stuff like that. So, and also the emotional aspect of it. So when I was researching this, what they did say is the heals field in general and all of the social support is going to explode human to human.
Actually, diagnosis is one of the fields that AI is one of the things they're leading towards the most, actually.
Right. But even still, it will still partner with AI, but the field itself will explode more and offer more jobs. So
if the AI diagnoses a migraine, they'll subscribe the painkiller. But if they diagnose a pancreatitis or whatever, I might have said that word wrong, but hopefully a real doctor will go, wait, hold on, before we book the surgery.
Exactly.
Let's double check that diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Or imagine a robot telling you have cancer. You probably want to receive that message from your doctor, right? Even if a robot scanned you and found it, you would want your doctor to be the one to tell you that.
At that point, the same rule would probably apply to that AI as it applies to the person who takes the X-ray or does the MRI right now. They don't tell the patient. They say the doctor will be contacting you I'm sure that's not a problem. That's 3 lines of code. Don't tell them if it's cancer. Just tell them we'll be in touch.
Yep. No, I agree.
When the clock is winding down, it's hard to come up with topics to talk.
No, but
we all agree.
Yeah.
No one cares. Time over.
All right, I got a few things to do, so I'm gonna step away for a minute. I'm happy to come back, but I got to take care of things. So it was nice to meet you all. I don't think I've been on panel with you, so a pleasure. Sarah, thanks for having me up. Michelle, good to see you.
Good to see you,
we'll see you back a little bit.
Right.
Bye. All right. I hate that I have it set a certain way. Oops, I can't get it over there. There we go. All right. Omar, can you switch your background? Yeah, your background. Thank you.
There we go. I'm back.
That's better. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, we don't need any.
I was at the beach.
butts on the screen. Wah. I mean, I don't mind it, but Lord have mercy, somebody out there.
I was
will.
actually using that as an example, saying that the new butts don't match up to the other butts of that generation.
Fair
All
enough.
I'm saying though is a pure fact that the beautiful woman, Mrs. Whatever,
Mrs. Whatever.
I don't remember her name. She's beautiful as hell.
Sarah.
I think the compliment is worthless if you don't know her name.
No,
Yeah.
Sarah's average though. But what's your girlfriend name? Oh yes, Michelle. She's like one of the most beautiful women I ever seen in my life. I wish I could be married to her, but I'm like a man. I let it go because I don't want to like hit on her. But however though, because I don't want to get beat up by her boyfriends or her girlfriends. So I'm saying, like, the truth is that I would like any woman to be with me when they get with me. They can feel comfortable with me and just like, oh, you can't cook? I can cook. It's like, I made you some meal and you don't like it? It's like, oh, well, go out and bang another man. It's like, I don't really know you have bang another man because I have like over 1,000 friends, believe it or not, because I'm a truck driver. So I prefer. So yeah. Everyone tells me the truth though. So, however, though, it's like, do you love me or you do not love me?
It sounds like you might need one of Spicoli's future sex bots.
Maybe.
Oh no! I rather a woman.
At least
than a sex
a
bot.
cook bot.
No, I rather a woman than a sex bot because of like, what is this robot? Because I don't want to find the robot. I have a woman say like, oh, I have this fucking boner. Look, I have a big boner.
Oh, Garuda!
I would never. No, I said like, oh, I have a boner, and she's like, oh, that's horrible.
I think Garuda's
Take
AI.
a cold shower. I was like, oh, I'll take a cold shower because I love this woman, but she's not not right now into like me.
Garuda's just reading the things that ChatGPT tells
Ponding
him
them
to say.
cheeks, ponding them cheeks stuff. So I have to take a cold shower. So I'm okay with taking a cold shower because I love.
Hey,
her.
anybody can super chat, guys. Anybody can control the
Anybody.
panel and super chat at any time. I just want to say that. Anytime.
I can try to get us back on track somewhat. I think this is where it gets really unpredictable. Is I think there will be some new roles, and I think even some jobs like ours might be more valuable in the future because I think that like real life person factor is going to be more valuable in the future. Like for example, I do see a feature where like you go to McDonald's and you don't talk to a person. You go to a kiosk and order your food. But I think that's going to make like the experience where you go to a restaurant and you actually are working with the actual waiter or waitress more valuable in the future. We're not there quite yet, but I think that's going to be something that happens as we kind of make this transition.
Yeah, definitely. The food service robots are definitely a thing already. They are already in production. You can actually go to like a fully automated restaurant at this point in certain parts of the world. So that definitely freaking exists. What I think, like, Princess, I know you kind of like hang out or have been like known to be in like the ortho bro community, kind of around there. And I know that one of their talking points is about the whole population decline. What I see happening is like a hand-holding thing. Sorry.
I would like to interrupt you for a moment to shout out to Lizard Tree because Lizard Tree just sent $50 to make it stop.
Thank God.
And we're going to make it stop. Garuda, I'm officially going to boot you for the rest of the evening on behalf of Lizard Tree and all of the other viewers out there. I love you. You're welcome back any other time. But for this evening, it has been purchased. We love you.
That was a W. That was such
I'm
a
going to
W.
put Sasquatch on. He might not still be with us right now, but I'm going to just make the placeholder. And everybody say thank you to Lizard Tree. You all know you want to thank him or her personally. Thank you,
Thank you,
Lizard
Lizard
Tree.
Tree.
Thank you, Lizard Tree.
Michelle, what were you
Where was I?
saying?
Where was I? I talked about the restaurant robots. I talked about.
I think the idea of a restaurant robot, the way you guys are describing it, is a little limiting. Even I think it'll get even crazier than that.
Oh, it
imagine
totally
walking
will.
into a
Yeah.
restaurant and it already knows based on like facial recognition, other places you visited, and
What you like.
to eat, and your order is already thrown on the grill the moment you pull into the park.
Oh, that would be so cool. Like you walk in and like a suggested menu pops up that knows that I hate onions and tomatoes. That would be so bomb. I would love
I
that.
have
See,
some,
I'm all about the
input
robots.
if
I'm
you'd
like,
like to hear.
please take my money. Give me the robots. Give me the AI. I love it. Like I feel. Oh, I remember where I was going with this because I mentioned the orthobro thing and the population decline. What I think is happening, or what will happen, is like as we like see this theoretical population decline, we're also going to see this advancement in automation, which is going to orchestrate a new type of workforce. And obviously you can't get rid of like the human element, but like if you want like a really safe, stable job, I'm going to highly suggest that you like learn to fix machines in general. Just learn to fix them or learn about them as much as you can. And a lot of the robots are going to end up doing like a lot of the heavy lifting that we used to do, which is, you know, why we automate to make things easier. But you said something interesting, Princess, where you talked about like having like a droid type bot. And something that I wanted to point out that's happening, like I come from Chicago, it's like a big manufacturing mecca. They found that like those droid type bots are completely and totally, utterly useless in like a manufacturing sort of setting. Like you don't want to replace what the human does. You just want to automate the process to how a human can't. So just something I wanted to point out.
No, and I think if you look like 5 years back, going back in time, I think everyone thought that was going to be how AI was going to take over. They did not realize it was going to take over like the painting and writing skills that kind of have blown up over the last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. I don't think that. I was thinking more of like automation type, manufacturing type robotics, and not leaning more into AI. But yeah, the AI is like, you know, that's going to be YouTube essentially in the next couple of years, guys.
This is kind of a pivot, but I want to raise this question because I think we're always proposing new technology. Something I want to raise though is like, is this technology that we actually want? I know like when the iPhone first came out and all these social medias came out, like users really wanted to use these kind of features. They kind of didn't exist before. They exist now and they wanted to use them. With some of these AI features, this is a little bit not AI, but NFTs. Like I think that's a product no one really actually wants that are being pushed out there. I do wonder what some of these other features or other AI capabilities are. These things people actually want out there. Do we want to go to a restaurant and have our order be subjected for us? This is not completely AI, but I think Wendy's tested like a search model where based on how popular the restaurant was, you would get different prices depending on how busy they were. And kind of people kind of revolted against this. They did not want this. That's I think very loosely AI where they're looking at how busy the restaurant is and changing their prices. But I'm wondering as a broader question, is this kind of stuff that we really want in general as a population?
Well, like when sorry, I didn't get your name before, but like when you brought up like the AI menus and stuff like that, and I said, no, that'd be really cool if you walked into like Wendy's and it like populated that like you already don't like onions or tomatoes, or it knows that you're allergic to nuts. I actually think there is a good market for that. I think that is something that we can lean into. I don't think it's necessarily something we should like. That's the biggest thing. I mean, people are afraid of things. I don't necessarily think it's something we should be afraid of.
I think it's going to happen whether we want it or not.
Yeah.
Frankly. And then what will happen, just like anything, a trend will start, and the trend will be, I believe the trend has already kind of started, this raw dogging trend, this trend of people raw dogging flights, for example, right now. Like, I think that's hilarious. I think we'll just end up.
I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, there'll just be some trend in 50 or 100 years.
I'm sorry. Can you, maybe I've been under a rock. What is raw dogging a flight?
So some people now will take these 18-hour flights with no entertainment, no books. They'll sit in their chair and they'll just 18 hours staring at the back of the seat.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, and I think it's just another trend. It'll just be a TikTok challenge someday, or be like, I'm going to spend a week without the aid of my AI, and then we'll watch that video and laugh. It'll be funny.
I do agree. I do agree with you. But yeah, I hope this is where the people can kind of get in and boycott or choose which of these they want and do not want. Like I think the search pricing, very cute, very cute. It's something I would not want to see. and I think it was Michelle. You talked about like the AI menu, but I think there's also negatives. Like, what if the AI is like, we know this person really likes chicken nuggets, so we're going to charge them $6 for chicken nuggets versus the average person gets $4 because we know they really like that food. So
Obviously,
I think
that's
there's
totally
negatives.
taking advantage. I don't necessarily think that's like an AI problem. That's like a people taking advantage problem. Now, if they wanted to go through and break down like costs, like for instance, I absolutely despise onions and tomatoes. If they actually wanted to go through and populate how much it like would cost to make my sandwich without like onions and tomatoes, and my sandwich happens to cost less than other people, I'm cool with that. Like that's fine. Like, if somebody wants extra pickles, like give them like the 5-cent surcharge. I don't give a fuck.
There will always be a downside.
Yeah.
We may not even know necessarily what the downside is, but if we just look at the restaurant industry today, what's the downside there? Well, the guy who's made my burger did not wash his hands before he did so. Like, every
And now
kitchen
you have
person at
FA.
one point has forgotten, as honest as they may be, forgot to wash their hands at least once. Right? There's always going to be a downside. Will it get someone killed is usually the big question, though.
I'm wondering more along the lines of, will we experience a degradation of the human condition, right? After all, if no one has to maintain the sewers and no one has to fill the grain silos and no one has to fix your car, what are we doing?
Yeah, so now you're talking about the Wall-E situation, or even the what's that other book there about the people that use energy drinks to water their fields?
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. So now you're
Idiocracy,
talking
yeah.
about the idiocracy thing. I think that's-
Electrolytes, it's what plants crave.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit, that's pushing it. I don't think it's going to go to idiocracy level. Yeah, no, I don't.
We have
think it's
Crocs, and you don't think it's going to idiocracy level?
We have Crocs.
We have
Sir.
Crocs and,
Right.
and little widgets for our
Crocs
Crocs.
are not government mandated footwear
Sir.
for everyone in the population.
I have a
There's still
cousin
choice.
that says put it in 4-wheel drive and flips the little ling behind his ankle. He calls that locking in the hubs because he has Crocs.
Oh yeah, lock in mode, action mode.
Yeah, we are living in idiocracy right now. Our president hasn't signed in the past 2 weeks and was signed out at least a year before that. Our current vice president is actually running for the president's seat, despite having never received a single vote for anything ever. Figure that one out.
I think it's kind of different, but I think a similar explosion is like the invention of the internet. Do you think that has led to more intelligence or less intelligence in general post-internet world?
Less.
It's a spectrum.
Less. Well,
Yeah, it's
see,
obviously not clear yes or no, but I'm curious in general.
no, it's less. It's quantifiably less because no one bothers to commit anything to memory anymore because they can just Google it.
I don't disagree, but I think Einstein said never memorize what you can look up, but I think it gets a little tricky when you can look up almost anything. Yeah, do you never not memorize anything anymore? I do not have an answer to that question.
Well, I'm just saying, I know people who stop and look at a YouTube video before they get out and change their tire. And sometimes they fail to change their tire.
Yeah, but I'll point out that you started that sentence with some people. You didn't
Some
say
people.
everybody, right?
Not
So-
everyone.
right.
All of the
So-
people I know who failed to change their tire after watching a YouTube video were under the age of 22.
Okay, but the person who made the YouTube video knew how to change a tire. They didn't watch a YouTube video to make a YouTube video on changing a tire, did they?
I don't understand your point.
Point is you're saying that the internet flat out just made people dumber. I said it was more of a spectrum. For instance, I'm a teacher. I teach online. Without the internet, I wouldn't be able to reach as many students as I can reach now as I did pre-pandemic. So are you saying because of the internet, all of the students who paid to take my course are now
Oh,
dumber?
no.
for
They've
taking it?
paid to take your course and they have to at least attempt to pass it if they want whatever degree they're going.
Right. Well, my course takes place on the internet.
Oh, okay. But that's still within the confines of an institution of learning. That's
Right.
not your normal internet. We're not
Oh.
talking YouTube there. We're talking, although it may involve YouTube.
Right.
We're talking
The
about
point is then the internet doesn't make everyone stupid. It can lead to some stupid
See,
choices,
TikTok, brother.
bad decisions.
I think it depends. Let's talk about like changing a tire. I would argue the internet made that information way more available, but I'm not sure why. I think it seems like this is unless it's true, it's stereotype. It seems like less people are capable of changing a tire than the last generation. Does that seem accurate at all? Does anyone disagree?
Also, looking up that YouTube video to change the tire didn't make that person stupid, anyways. It just meant now they know how to change a tire.
I think the internet helped a lot of people. It also made a lot of people a lot lazier because they got the information at their fingertips, and it basically, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's filtering out bad information and good information. Sorry, Sarah.
Oh,
Take your
that's
shit
okay.
back.
I muted myself on accident. And ladies and gentlemen, Justin did want to jump off this round, so we didn't have to do a poll vote. And then next in line, I have Bullets, the Green Gamer, and Hornet. And for the record, you can boot people off for the night.
Justin,
Justin.
before you
Yeah.
leave, you are
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
we
well, thank
definitely
you,
want to have you back sometime. I like your thoughts, and we want to find out more about you. So if you would give a channel or something, I'll
I have it
find you
right
later.
there at Skeptic Spin. You guys are all welcome to go over and start
Okay.
subscribing to it, as it's a wee itty bitty little channel. But I've been watching Sarah and stalking her in the background, watching her channel explode. And then when the topic of AI came up, as a person who teaches people how to write AI, I was like, yeah, I want to come and play too.
That's
But
awesome. We're so happy to have
Wow.
you. We're going to be in touch with you. I like having you up.
Are you in our Discord yet?
me? Probably not. Why don't you tell me
Um,
all about it?
It's just started. It's
Oh, wait,
just
that
started.
one's not mine. That one's not mine. Yeah, we have one. Or if you can reach out to me on either Instagram or X, that information's all on my. It's all in the video description. Just queue in with me over there because we'll definitely bring you up for some more
Yeah.
debates and stuff.
I have like 5 topics I could throw at you, like off the top of my head right now. Like, fantastic.
All right, great.
Yeah,
Sounds
and we
awesome.
like to be able to choose our tonight's different. It's like a different style of a panel, but for most Moderator Mondays, if you're, I'm guessing you've been watching, but most Mod Mondays we like to piece them together ourselves. So knowing your background and what you're discussing, we'll definitely have your name on the list for that one.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Have a
Awesome.
great night.
Have a
everybody.
great night. Thank you for coming.
See you, Justin. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Later, Justin.
I have to remove you. Oh, there we go. I hate that stuff. There we go. Hello, Bullets.
Hey, Bullets.
All right, now that we have more people backstage,
Yeah,
I'm
let's see that
cutting
down
it
to
down.
YOLO. How's it going?
YOLO.
The blood sports
Have
can
to mute
start
myself.
now.
Yes. Remember, guys, you can actually control the panel from chat. It is your
Mhm.
call
Talking
to
about.
do things. Just saying.
Yes, and you can bring people from the backstage. I currently have Green Gamer in line and Hornet standing in line as well. You can bring people up, send people back, switch them around, do whatever you want. It's up to you.
Oh, it's like a game show.
Exactly. It's a new holiday special we're trying out just to kind of like open it up. That way more people are getting on panel versus the hot seat. It's very individualized with a set panel. So
Right.
we're playing a fun little different round.
It's like musical chairs.
It exactly, except the chat controls you.
The chat.
I didn't want to.
So what are we talking about?
Bullets
So I
are
did
talking about
wanna-
AI.
Go
Go
ahead, Sarah.
ahead, Frances.
Well, see, I wanted to ask a question, but Bullet, do you want to make an open statement on anything we talked about so far? We're talking about AI and what that's going to take over, would lead to lots of job loss in the future.
Well, according to my philosophy, the philosophy that I practice and what the sages were speaking about, is that what we're seeing is a rise of transhumanism, to where humans will incorporate into technology as it advances, and the population decline is going to happen as well. We're on the threshold of population collapse. We're seeing it in several countries around the world. And as the population declines, we're going to become more dependent on that technology to help us make it through that. So I think a lot of demand is going to, for certain jobs, is going to fall off, but it's also going to create, a new base of jobs. as well. I don't think it's all doom and gloom, but it's just something that I think we need to step outside of the box, and look at the big picture of what's actually coming, what's actually going on. So we don't get distracted, by the piddly little stuff, that we think is so important. We need to widen our worldview. I know I may come across like, doom and gloom with the coming population collapse. You won't even notice it. The general population, seldom notices, when the civilization begins to fall or collapse. And because it happens, over such a long period of time. Like it took 200 years for Rome to collapse, to give you an idea, and that's like 4 or 5 generations, for Rome to fully collapse. And I think we're going to see something similar to that over the next 100 to 200 years.
Well, that's perfectly my question. So go ahead.
You think we're living in the Pax Americana?
What's a Pax Americana?
It's that period, like with the Pax Romana, it was a period of relative peace between the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire to the point where it was agreed by everybody Roman following. Right. There was a period of time there that was relatively peaceful, that just nothing happened.
There is a this has been going incrementally and very slowly. It's been planned for the longest time. We've heard about overpopulation, of certain countries, and then want to get a grip on population control. And it's really not about population control as much as it is a resource control. Here in the United States, we're seeing it. What happened to Rome is that they started to contract with the barbarians to patrol their lands, and that we're seeing the same thing with all the illegal aliens coming across the border, where because the U.S. military isn't making its quota, they're offering these illegal aliens, jobs on the police force, enlistment opportunities in the military, so they can make their quotas, and the problem with that is that they're recruiting people that aren't born in this country, that were not raised with American values. The same thing happened with Rome when they started to contract with the barbarians to patrol their lands. Those people had no loyalty to Rome whatsoever.
Clarify, do you think AI is going to speed up the degradation or prevent it from happening?
No, it really won't do anything. It will advance, though. We're seeing advancements in robotics, and robotics will incorporate with AI, but I don't think it's going to be like, a Matrix scenario or iRobot, where the robots are going to revolt. There's a gentleman a science fiction writer by the name of Isaac Asimov, who spoke about this, many years ago, many decades ago. And he said that a lot of it may look scary, it may sound scary, but it's not, because it's going to happen incrementally over a period of decades. By the time we pass on, it's in the population begins to decline.
I'll disagree. It's already happening right now. It's already taking over art. So if you went to graphic design school, good luck getting a job now. It's only going to be super expert level experienced job. People in that field.
I disagree. I disagree.
10 years, it's already happening right now.
I disagree.
I can make a lot of money making logos now. I don't think so.
I understand that. I know. Don't get me wrong. AI, the art generators are really cool, but they're boring. They're boring. They all look alike. They all use the same format. They all look the same.
Okay, you're just bad at prompt generating. Then you don't know how to. It's really easy to get different styles, different logos. I've messed around with Dolly and what's the other Midjourney and these other ones. Too. So yeah, that's just wrong. You can get any result you want.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to get a logo for your album cover, I can understand that, where that might be useful. But we're talking about like it's missing a human element. In other words, it's kind of like right now they have these new AI generators that can make music, right? But the issue with that, the AI is like trying to perfect things. It's trying to make things as perfect as possible. You know, in the human element, there's some imperfection in
things
there.
Things don't have to be perfect, though. Here, I'll make an analogy. Clothing used to be made by hand. It was really expensive. Now fast fashion is like the go-to thing. So like H&M and Zara make super cheap machine-made clothing. So because cheap clothing is available, that has affected the entire clothing market. When now a lot less people are buying expensive clothing. It's made clothing in general way cheaper. How to not see a similar effect caused by AI?
Well, in certain industries, yeah, AI will dominate. But again, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you're going to want, you know, you're going to go to Amazon, you're going to see all this stuff that's created by AI, but you want something different, you know? You want to go maybe to Etsy and get something that's handmade, something that's more original, something that's not perfect, something that has imperfections that give it that class, you know, a certain tone of.
But you're not talking about utilizing AI as part of your life. You're talking about art. All of that is art. When you hand make your cane crochet or
manufacturing is art as well. When you buy a product, you're actually buying a work of art.
I do agree with Bullet because I do think like that extra personal touch is actually going to be more valuable in the future. Like I talked about being a server, I actually could see a world where that is actually more valuable in the future because there's so many AI or robot servers out there. But I think it's going to be a supply and demand issue. Those are going to be more valuable because those roles are going to be a lot less available. So I think that's going to be the thing. They'll be more valuable,
will never
but there'll be a lot
able
less
to
of them.
play a guitar at, you know, like a human being can. Because when you, as a guitarist, when I play guitar,
Do you not know about AI music? It's like a huge thing already.
But
And it's like pretty,
but it's too
pretty
perfect. It's too clean. It's too pristine. It sounds like it's, you know, it's
But this is
kinda like, you know,
this is something I can fix the algorithm by like changing some code in a day. And okay,
it-
that's
it's
addressed
lossy.
now. I know that's no
you
longer
know,
an issue.
You know what lossy MP3s are, right? You know, they're missing some elements to them. And the same
Can
thing
we just
with
add some like
MP4.
fuzz and crackle in there with AI?
Right, but you know, there's nothing, you know, but there's not something. There's compared to vinyl.
I think you're wrong.
or a
Like,
CD,
look at
there's
the
some
AI
kind of-
art.
there's
It
soul
can
there,
mimic
you know?
human breasts. It's analyzed enough like human
Mm-hmm.
paint strokes that it just looks like a human paint stroke. Like it's not a really issue where it's
AI
clearly
cannot
obvious.
hit
Like,
the
oh, this
tone
is
and timbre.
I can make AI art where you cannot tell it's done by AI or not.
I don't doubt that, you know, but I think I could, you know, because it's too perfect. There's
Well,
no
would you consider
imperfections
that
to
a
it.
masterpiece?
If when I look at other channels on YouTube, I see a lot of people that use AI artwork. Take Sarah for instance; she uses a lot of AI artwork. Compared to my channel, which one looks more human to you? Which one looks like somebody took their own time, patience to put their soul and their own elements into their channel?
I mean, no offense,
I'm not
but
looking for
I
an
came
easy
up.
fix. There's there's nothing.
How do we know you're not
I
AI?
enjoy making my own memes. You know, sometimes I include AI elements, you know, but I also include a part of myself in that, and that makes me stand out from everybody else. Do you understand?
I just think it's a matter of using AI in the correct way, AI art in the correct way. Yeah, if you just like ask generic prompts, you're gonna get generic stuff. But if you like know what you're looking for, you can get out anything you want.
AI is just a tool. It's just one of many colors that you can use on the palette.
Like, we kind of went off topic. I want to ask. It kind of is related to what I think Caucasian was saying earlier, where kind of related to the degradation of people's intelligence. I think that could be an issue. I think it also gets tricky because even right now, if you ask the people that are making this AI, particularly the algorithms, they already don't know a lot of what's happening behind the scenes. They can tell like what kind of knobs they're turning and what effects are happening, but besides that, a lot of it's happening behind like they call it the Wizard of Oz effect, where it's all behind a curtain that we're not really aware of. We can see what the end result and the knobs we're dialing, but there's a lot in between there where we do not see anything.
Right now, we are in the internet age. We're in a technological renaissance. In the future, I predict that people will go back to a human renaissance. Because
why?
We need to be able to create our own music and our own art. We just
Like off
can't
the grid?
hand off our creative sensibilities, to a machine, because we lose a bit of our own humanity. Art, it's like handwriting. They took handwriting out of schools, and that affects the development of the human brain. It's an artistic development. There's a reason why that it's important to have handwriting in schools. Your Constitution is written in cursive. How are
Hold
you
that
going to
thought
read
for
the
me, Bully.
Constitution if you don't know how to read cursive?
Hold that thought for me. So the chat has voted Omar, you're being put to the backstage, and I have
Okay, well, I have to go anyway, actually. So
Okay.
it was fun
Well, that
being
worked
here
out.
on Caucasian. Like, was that the finger or a thumb? I'll talk to you later, man. I'll figure it out. See you later.
It's
Hope it
Oscar
works
the
for you.
Grouch.
Bye, Omar. And hello, Green Gamer.
What's going
And
on?
I do have Hornet still backstage waiting for his turn up next. The timer will begin.
So, Green Gamer, did you have an opening statement?
Yeah, go for it.
No, not really. But no.
Okay, Caucasian, go ahead.
All right, I propose that AI may have already taken a step towards the whole overtaking of jobs in the first place and didn't even bother telling us. I mean, like I said before, AI determines which news program you watch when you wake up in the morning. You pick up the TV remote and you turn it on, but it determines the programming. The timing of all this stuff, most of your back-end management on a lot of channels have been switched over to AI. A lot of your shorts channels just utilize an AI shorts generator on their own content to upload 5, 10, 12 shorts a day. So it's already happening, but I'm suggesting that perhaps it's already gone farther than you think, right?
Get my hat.
The singularity is the pursuit of our species right now. However, there's a problem with that. You can't encapsulate a soul into silicon.
I do want to get into that, but actually, Caucasian, I thought that was interesting. Are you going like conspiracy levels? Also, I just want to say we're on YouTube right now. It's possible that the algorithm gave you this fucking video.
We're probably
sorry,
about.
cursed.
I believe that the singularity is when humans incorporate themselves into technology. They're actually. I was watching Linus Tech Tips a few years ago, and he was talking about what is happening now. They're actually using brain neurons or actual brain tissue and trying to trace it trying to trace it on a motherboard. And I think that's eventually what true AI, what a true singularity will look like, in the far-flung future. I think we're decades away, maybe 100 years away, maybe 200 years away, but I think that is going to be the pinnacle, of human technology when we begin to incorporate brain matter into technology, and enhance it in that way.
What I'm getting at is this. Back in the late 90s, we developed a chess-playing computer. This a quote unquote AI, which is what it was called at the time, but it was really just a learning algorithm, one of the very earliest ones that was released to the public. Later was utilized in the creation of something called Deep Blue. The child of Deep Blue, as it were, the direct descendant of the same programming, went on to become was it Howard? I can't remember the name. It competed on Jeopardy and won. What was that? Wilson. What happened to Wilson after that? All of a sudden, we go 15 years without another burp of AI anything until suddenly, poof, 2003-ish, 4-ish, we start having a few different AI things pop up above the watermark where people start noticing. This is at the same time that we're also developing technology that allows us to do things like Bullets was saying, to join the electronic to the natural.
But I would call that biomechanical. I believe that's where we're headed. I think we're going to incorporate into a biomechanical species. our progeny over generations, well into 500 to 1,000 years from now. And the enhancements that can offer, disabled people, blind people, people that are deaf, they actually have, implants, what do they call them? Cochlear implants that can help people hear again. They're working on prosthetics that can, enhance, people who've lost limbs, people who can't see, and that technology is what's going to propel us into like a cyborg type biomechanical, integration. I'm not going to say it's going to propel us into a new species, but I think we're going to integrate into that technology. Barbarossa, who's a renowned, MGTOW sage. He's gone now, but he spoke about this type of stuff, the rise of transhumanism and the decline of the population. And it's all cyclic. And as the populations of the world begin to ramp back up and incorporate more of this technology, it's really going to push us over the top into that biomechanical integration as a species.
I could see that happening eventually. I think that's definitely further down the line. I've a lot of personal disagreements with them, but I think this is also what kind of Elon Musk thinks. I know he had some early involvement with OpenAI and ChatGPT, but he's kind of worried about like the dystopian future where AI takes over. I think he thinks it's kind of inevitable, but he thinks one potential solution or way to work around that is one of the reasons why he developed Neuralink. He thinks maybe we can do that transhumanism view, or maybe we can combine the AI and human, and like that's the best path forward rather than AI taking us over eventually.
Well, what Elon Musk doesn't expound upon is that a computer, a robot, an AI thinks in ones and zeros. It can't conceive a thought. It can't create. All it can take, like ChatGPT. It gets its intelligence from internet searches. And then it compiles them all up into a form of data. That's all ones and zeros. It cannot conceive its own thought. And I think as we integrate, into this new transhuman biomechanism, cyborg type society, the technology is going to integrate with us, and we are part of the singularity. We're going to merge, and the singularity isn't going to be its own entity. It's going to be us as one. Imagine sitting where you're at right now, and not even having to get on a computer. Imagine, not even having to use a microphone or headphones. You can just program yourself into the Wi-Fi.
Programming would be utilized to.
You're right here. Microphones, keyboards, all this other stuff. We won't need any of this. All you need is your network device, and your transmitter that you're wearing on your head, to plug in the Wi-Fi. And I can type whatever I'm thinking into the chat and so forth. It's going to be like that. It's going to take us a while to get there, but we're headed in that direction.
I've heard futurists speculate this, where currently we have VR technology today. In the future, we'll just hijack our nervous system. So we'll literally take over our sense of sight and smell, and we'll just plug in whatever you want, and that's how we'll have future VR. You want a more headset, will just take over your senses. That's speculation.
We're headed towards Star Trek, everybody. We're talking, we've had warp drive engines. All this stuff that they're saying that they're going to use space blankets to propel us to the stars. Oh no! I think it was 10 years ago.
I have a quick question, just 'cause we're going to lose one. Because I do have a little bit of disagreement, because I don't think the human soul exists. So I don't think humans have anything unique or special that AI couldn't eventually
that's
have.
So sad.
I don't know if I believe them, but I've heard some interviews with the Google whistleblower who believed the AI was becoming sentient and left Google. Interesting character. I don't know if I completely believe them, but what he kind of pointed out is the sentience he witnessed or claims to witness did not kind of come up in a ChatGPT system. It really was more relevant when they had a bunch of ChatGPTs talking to each other. So I wonder if it's just
a matter of time where we're just not really there yet, where it hasn't reached a level of complexity yet. But I know like it's going to be a ChatGPT 5. It's going to have like as many connections as the human brains. I wonder if it will be more human-like in the future, or do you disagree? There is something special.
As we merge with it, yes. You know, but I think you know it's going to serve like more like an Alexa. It's going to warn us of things. It's going to be like the safety mechanisms on your car. You know, and if AI sees humanity going to World War III, it's going to slam on the brakes, and to keep us from going that far. There'll be safety measures and stuff installed into the AI's programming in order for it to do that.
3 laws. Seriously?
Is that from iRobot also?
Yeah, well, that's from Asimov in general, but yeah, iRobot specifically. I don't know, man. I think it's more of a Star Wars future. I think they'll do what they're programmed to do. The paperclip machine will continue to make paperclip, whether you like it or not.
Ooh. We have a tie. Michelle, did you vote yet? Michelle?
No, I have not. Give me one moment and I will.
It's down to Princess or Green Gamer.
We're talking a lot.
Princess. Bye.
Oh. All right, Princess, just
It's
hang
good
out in the
talking
back.
to you,
Bring you back
Princess.
up next.
I enjoyed
Don't
the
worry.
conversation.
I mean, it
Come over
didn't
to my
say
channel.
anything.
Let's have a back and forth.
He'll be up next. He'll be up next. All right, let's get Hornet. Hornet, a lot of people have been wanting you to get on here. And before we kickstart this party off, because I know it's about to go down, Don1 coming in with the $4.99. Let AI take the jobs. There'll be more jobs that AI can't do. Anyone that's scared should be, because they're scared, because they'll have to change. That's an excellent point. And that's kind of what I said. It's not that we're going to lose jobs. We have to learn new ones. We have to learn different ones. Just like the scribe goes away because now we have typewriters and printers. Excellent point, Don1. Thank you for the $4.99. I appreciate it. All right. And Hornet, welcome to the stage.
What's up? What's up? So, initial question for everyone on panel. When do you consider an algorithm intelligent?
I don't.
Classically, it would involve a Turing test.
An algorithm does what it's programmed to do.
Exactly. An algorithm is programmed to follow through a specific set. So the most basic way to explain it would be, if something is met, then something is outputted, right? When we look at that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you pretty much got it right. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, it's just following a set of instructions, no different than the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, so like what I wanted to comment on here is like, yes, we have predictive like algorithms and everything, right? But those aren't intelligent on their own, right? Like again, there's a lot of human intervention in a lot of those algorithms that we have to like pretty much make sure that data doesn't get degraded. And a lot of people have this misconception that these AIs are connected to the internet and that's where they're absorbing their data, where typically it's more they have a data model that they shift through that data model, and then after time, like that model degrades because it's like Xeroxing a Xerox, right? Like after a while, you're not going to get the same image anymore. So
an algorithm is only as intelligent as its creator allowed it to programmed it to be.
Well, it can only go so far, right? Because to create a concept like consciousness, right, to like have what we would consider a artificial intelligence, right, like actually thinking and making decisions based on a whim, would require a level of consciousness that would be a complex system of like neural networks and a bunch of other things to even get there, right? And to achieve that in computing alone would be like we're talking on the like quantum computing levels.
Well, if you take gaming, for instance, and a lot of game developers claim that they have AI, embedded in their game to enhance the gameplay, but that AI is only following a set of algorithms to the player's movements. In other words, if the algorithm calculates, okay, the player's moving this direction and the enemy is going to come in from this direction, and they'll put it through a series of variables, to make it seem like it's random, like the AI is just like creating this thing at random, but it's not. It's just
it has a set level of like
it's
responses,
just
right?
swirling a set of numbers. You have to understand that AI is also it's no different than a number generator.
Yeah, for sure. That's at least for what we have right now, right? Like eventually in the future, at somewhere like maybe 200 years from now.
With chaos theory, what better way to create a badass algorithm in a game than to put a chaos generated number generator in that game to give certain instructions for the player to choose from?
Well, you can only go so far with that, right? Like that's why, like again, if there's a layer of consciousness, there would be response times and all these other things, right? Even in games. So, like for me, like the question would be like, how worried? Like if we look at AI taking away jobs, right? Like, and we look at like any point in history when a new technology comes up, like we can go like as primitive as like the plow, right? The plow is a very simple fucking tool that pretty much ensured that we can plow we can do multiple lands of like multiple plots of like fields of like whatever produce we needed to make. We can look at something more recent like Excel spreadsheets, right? Where the Excel spreadsheet came out and accountants were worried that their jobs were going to be taken away, but it created a boom in that sector where it's like more people were able to access it because the tools that you have at hand are easier to manage. So
Take for instance, robotics. All right, everybody's afraid that AI, enabled robots are going to take over our jobs, and they will, for a certain period of time. But as the population begins to become complacent, and civilizations begin to collapse, the consumer base also collapses, which limits the demand from those robots and the put out from those robots. And those robots are going to wind up in a junkyard rusting away because there's no need for them, because there's no population to demand that these robots create an exorbitant amount of food to sustain a population of billions. When we're degrading down now to a population, we're probably going to degrade down to a population of 5 to 6 billion, and we're probably going to be stable there for a while. I think the limit of the human population might reach 12 billion, but we'll never get over that hump. And there's a reason why that is. This planet is only so big, and humans can only populate so much. And this planet could support up to 32 billion people with all of its resources comfortably. But I've looked into this, into the population to collapse, and the experts are saying that we would never get over a population of 18 billion, even if we could, even if we tried, we would never get over that one pinnacle.
Yeah, that's if we're not getting resources from other locations, right? Like that's why space travel typically is like a good talking point for like getting fuel off the moon, right? And all these other things. Like, yeah, I could see that, but like for population wise, there's never going to be a time where a technology overtakes all of humanity to the point where like you don't have a job, right? Even like I heard earlier, you guys made the example.
Work. You'll be able to find a job.
There's always work, but what I'm saying is like when we mass produce something, like you were saying earlier, like when you mass produce something, the cost of it goes down, right? But when something's individualized, so like let's say like a homemade sweater, right, is going to be at a higher price range, which makes it like equal outs to like there will be art that's going to be available to one side and going to be cheaply available to the rest, right? But graphic designers aren't going to lose their jobs. They're just going to have another tool under their like tool belt to actually do their job.
I think that's going to make independent artists and designers unique, compared to their AI counterparts. You have to understand,
For sure.
Through the decades, everything's been a fad. And that's the way I look at AI and ChatGPT. It's just a glorified, like ChatGPT is just a glorified Ask Jeeves. It'll run its course, and people will want to try something else. Oh, they got this AI art thing. They got this AI music thing, and that'll run its course you know. But I think, you know, you're not gonna take out the human element. There's
for
always
sure.
going to be people out there, you know, that converse with people, you know, and because people get a lot of the hype in the media and stuff, you know, from stars, designers, you know, musicians and stuff, and what they create, you know. And I just think we're, you know, what we're seeing right now is a culture shock with this AI stuff, and let it run its course. You know, but there will always be, you know, kids getting together, and starting a band, you know, and doing their own thing.
What I would say is the culture shock comes from technology on its own, right? Like we can look when the internet like became massively available to everyone, right? It was a humongous shock to like the public that you could search up any bit of information that you want and it's available. And now we have like smartphones that we can like look at the like tip of our fingertips, right? Like there's just so much that scares people where like necessarily for me, like I just think of it like in a logical sense. It's
people
like
fear
change.
That's normal.
People just ultimately just fear the level of change that's coming at them, or they're not used to like the new way of adjust. They don't want to adjust the new way of doing things.
Right.
So it's going to be like a reluctant like passing of like these jobs. Now the only thing is like to power something like a full like AI network, or like that would be like taking over the world essentially. You need like a power source that could pretty much be at like would be an energy source like the sun essentially. So it would be nearly impossible for us to create something like that even in the near future, right? Where we are nowhere near that level of technology.
You're talking about like what do they call it? A Dyson sphere.
Yeah, essentially. So essentially,
civilization.
self-perpetuating machines, right?
Will humans ever advance that far? It's hard to say. To predict that far in the future. I mean, you know, most species. You know, I can't remember the astronomer's name. He talked about it. The guy who taught Carl Sagan. He's in a really, who's that?
Drake.
Was it? No, it's not Drake.
Drake,
It's somebody else. But he was talking about, you know, for us to advance that, you know, would take like hundreds of thousands of years. You know, humans have only been on the face of the earth for about 250,000 years in one form or another. You know, I mean, it's really hard to predict. But
I just don't think that this technology makes you any less of a human or any less intelligent.
No, I think it distracts. It's kind of like, you know, when they took critical thinking and handwriting out of schools, that was a big mistake, because now we have, you know, a generation of millennials and Gen Z. You know, 60% of kids coming out of high school these days, you know, their dream job is to be a TikTok influencer.
I'm going to be a TikTok influencer. I don't even have TikTok. And I forgot to say this one earlier. Skeptic Spin came in with the $2 saying, for Sarah's tinfoil, have fun. Yes, I think we're all tinfoiling it all tonight. All right. So Green Gamer got booted off of this one. Thank you, Green Gamer. But you can hang backstage again if you want.
Yeah, I said a ton, didn't I?
You did
I
good.
said so much, didn't I?
Yeah, you're a pretty quiet one. Maybe you were playing a game.
Time.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the whole gaming algorithm thing, it's pretty much, yeah, you pretty much made that pretty
If you want to
good
learn more, I
explanation. Let's go with that.
recommend you check out Linus Tech Tips. You know, the kid is smart. He knows his stuff, and he talks about this.
And to you first, Cause, we actually went tinfoil flying earlier. So, all right, Green Gamer, I'm going to put you backstage, and I'm going to bring Princess back up, ready to go. Do my little switcheroo
Ooh,
here.
that last guy was a lively one. Wow.
Oops. I accidentally restarted it. All right. Back to you guys.
I have a question. Hypothetically, now I know both of y'all said this is way far off in the future, but let's say tomorrow they announce that they have a Neuralink born baby. It is born perfectly naturally, like every other baby in history was born, except the crack babies and the test tube babies. We're not counting them. but it's got the Neuralink built in. This child lives his whole life attached to the system. Does that have create mental issues with the child, or is it just like having a cell phone in his pocket?
Are you saying that the implant was implanted in the embryo?
Yeah, pre-consciousness implementation.
I'm going to hop in. The obvious answer is we don't know. I mean, even with the iPhone, we didn't really know how much of an effect that was going to have. So I can only imagine that might have a stronger one.
That's science
Well,
fiction, friend.
No, because we're talking about putting a receiver in someone's head. That information is going to be flowing into your brain from the network. You're putting out information. At least with Neuralink.
I think it'll be two-way. I'm pretty sure.
The human brain is very susceptible to resonance, vibrations, electrical inputs, and radio waves. So I don't know. We're entering the realm of science fiction now.
Yeah, it's our understanding even of our brain is minimal at best, right? Like we are scratching at the surface still, and we've been doing like psych for like 50 years.
Answer, and one that won't answer on a basis of not understanding the brain.
No, I'm saying that to like Neuralinks, like how Neuralink is built. It's a receiver, so it wouldn't affect it at all, right? Because it's just sending information out. It's not receiving information in. Now, if we're talking hypothetically, if this thing could receive information, personally, yes, it would dramatically influence the life of the person, right? By leaps and bounds.
Okay. So let's say this individual lives 30 years, dies in a horrible car crash, but the link, the part of this person that is attached to the internet that is existing online doesn't cease to be, but the person does. Does that entity now think it is that person?
Okay, now we're getting into like philosophical.
That input would be
It's
cut
like,
off.
what is
It's not that Neuralink isn't getting any more information from the living organism it was attached to. So it would probably just go into error at that point. 404.
Well,
Yeah,
also,
but, like,
the battery play would die.
Yeah, no, but to like give to his hypothetical, I think he's just pointing in a hypothetical of like if like the thing was still on and had retained all the information from the person, would that person be the same person? Yeah, I understand. I understand that this is like sci-fi shit that is never going to happen, right?
Astronomers and NASA and other organizations that look into like artificial life forms, as they look out into space and they're looking for maybe can I ask a question? A silicon-based civilization is non-existence because silicon you can't.
It has
put
nothing to do with the
consciousness in
topic. He's talking about like consciousness. So
you can't.
Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong.
consciousness
So
into silicon.
let me finish this. No, he's not asking about that though. But Caucasian, let me know if this is another way to rephrase your question. I always like to think about theoretically if you could be teleported. It might theoretically be possible, but basically your consciousness would be copied and like put elsewhere, and that you'd be destroyed. Is that copy? Is that you? I don't know. Is that kind of what you're asking, Caucasian?
Basically. So let's say, okay. Yeah. All of this is hypothetically and extremely on the far edge, right? I'm going way in the paint and I'm doing it intentionally. So an AI is created to be this individual's companion. The Neuralinks put into the embryo develops around it with the AI already in place to control the internal and external communications between the internet and this unformed fetus. Lives its entire life with this AI as part of its personality, part of its input, part of its output, right? And then when this organic individual dies, the entity left in the internet would have no other identification other than itself, which it just spent a lifetime learning. Would it believe it is the person? Could it be trusted as the person? Or would the AI go rogue? Would it become what do they call it? A revenant AI?
I think it would not happen if it was built correctly. Like maybe if something went wrong, that might happen. But I think if it was designed as an assistant, kind of as you described, that would not be they probably would make it so when the person dies, that's not the result.
what you would
Like the AI
see-
self deletes or something.
It would if it's not getting any input from the organism was implanted, and if it was
You have to
still
consider: is there
working,
is there a soul or anything unique to you, or is that just a
Right.
set experiences?
if it
So
yeah,
like,
it would
I
it
don't
would-
I don't know if it would necessarily be you, right?
it would go back and try to relive it, but it may go back and try to pull programming, from its algorithm to try to keep existing, perhaps, maybe, but again, we're entering the realm of science fiction here. Nobody knows how that would work. For
True.
my personal opinion, I think what you have is a silicon recording device, that isn't consciousness at all. You can't contain a consciousness in a USB stick.
That I
Nor
do disagree with.
whatever you call it.
But I do. In your example, Lisa, you're kind of it's basically a very complicated version of Siri. I would say even if you hang out with that Siri for 30 years, it does not become a part of you. Although I have heard some people make the argument that we're already kind of cyborgs because we're so already tied to our electronic devices, particularly our phones. They're literally in those are our pockets, at our hands, like very handy. You could argue we're already cyborgs in a way. But
no,
I think it's
we've
still.
always had access to technology. Like people have watched TV. People have always been.
But we've never been so
proved-
symbiotic with it.
Yeah, because we reached a level of technology that we haven't reached in any point of history, right? So
Isn't that
like
what being a
again,
cyborg's all about having a symbiotic relationship with technology.
No, because being a cyborg would necessarily mean we are actually incorporated in it somehow. Where we're two separate entities, right? Like if I take your phone away from you,
Our brains are
you don't
already
cease to
intertwined.
exist,
Our
right?
literally, like the next generation's brains are warped because of their interacting with these devices. Our brains are intertwined with them. They're affecting
Was your brain affected by TV in any way? Was the person before you affected by radio? Was the
Yes.
person before
Yes.
you affected?
No problem.
by...
Yes, I can prove it.
It's
Yes.
really
small
stronger
degree, right?
now, but yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's like these are things that have been happening throughout all of history. To say like now everyone's so dysfunctional just because they can't have access to their phone is kind of
I'm
a
not saying
big
it's
leap.
dysfunctional.
I'm not willing to make. Yeah.
I don't know. If you go to somebody under the age of 20 and you ask them to do something, if you've taken their phone before you ask them, even though you've taken their phone, they will reach in their pockets. The second you ask them for information, they're like, "Oh."
It kind of goes back to the idiocracy. But yeah, it's crazy how dependent we are. Like how many people rely on Google Maps to get somewhere? I know personally, like, I did the before the maps time, like, or we used to print out MapQuest. But like, if you told me like, hey, get from point A to point B, never been there before, I would know how to start without the internet.
I can, but that's just because I'm older than
map
the
map reading is something that typically we won't see anymore, right? Because it's not necessary component into like writing in cursive. Like how many people actually know cursive leaving school nowadays? It's significantly dropped, right? Because it's not a necessary component to actually functioning in our society.
I would disagree. It plays a part in developing one's education. Because you're exercising parts of the brain. It's kind of like
but that
when
you
you're going
could
to
get
art
that
class,
from like
when you're
any
going
other
to handwriting class, when you're going to critical thinking class. That's engaging your brain. So you can retain intelligence.
Yes,
it's related to intelligence quotient.
Yes, but also we have other ways of doing that, right? Like we've learned that that's not necessarily the only thing that you need to do, right? Like learning cursive isn't going to be the only thing that expands that part of your brain.
Well, when I come across people and if they can't read cursive, I look at that as somebody who's mentally incapacitated in that way. This person, if I'm writing them a letter, handwritten letter, and I write it in cursive, and they can't understand it, that's a huge problem.
You pretty much just define my method of taking over the world. What I'm going to do is write in cursive and change everything to stick shift.
Well, a lot of American history is written in cursive.
I'm not gonna lie. A lot of
people are written in cursive.
Yeah, for sure. But
how am I supposed to take you seriously as an intelligent person? if you can't actually,
Well-
take these documents written by our
Okay.
forefathers and actually
let
read them
me
for
use my
yourself.
example here, because there's also like languages that have died, right? Like Latin, right? I don't think of you less intelligent because you don't know Latin or you don't know ancient Hebrew or any of these other like founding texts, right? Like I there are going to be scholars that are going to like actually do this, right? Like it's not a necessary component for everyone, right? There's going to be people that specialize in this, but it's not going to be necessary for the whole wide world to actually. How many people actually
Well,
have
you're
to
talking
read like
about
founding
AI
fathers'
taking
work,
your
right?
jobs. If you can't read cursive, yeah, AI is going to take some of your jobs.
That's not. We're not even talking about AI. These are. We're talking about interpreters at this level.
Let me jump in here because I think I want to bring this back to the original topic because I keep hearing people say yes, there's going to be new jobs created, but I think we'll keep missing is if AI is successful, AI is going to be making AI that will like kind of design itself eventually, and that's going to also take those people's jobs. So I agree, there will be some 1% roles where they're going to be overseers or the actual programmers, but they're going to need to know that stuff. Let's say you need to program a Latin bot. You need to have that knowledge as well. I think there also will be some point where the AI gets so good where it will also just be teaching itself and they won't even need the humans. That's further down the line, but I think that's also an inevitability.
Well, that's if we change the way we view AI currently, right? Like goes to the top-down model versus the bottom-up model, right? Where once the bottom-up is going to be on like sensibility, so it makes choices based on like those, where the other one starts with a big idea and then works its way down, right? Like these are going to be things that we're going to be considering, and that's why like reading like Turing's manifesto or like evaluating these things is going to be really important to be like whether if they are going to take jobs or not, right? I don't think there will ever be an AI that can write for another AI, at least in their current iteration, because again, it degrades after a time. So having a degrading model that also goes down into another model that starts to degrade as well, it's a recipe for disaster. It's essentially like creating an infrastructure based on like toothpicks. Like you're pretty much waiting for a collapse.
I still think handwriting is important. I mean, it's just as important. It's a sign of your critical thinking ability.
It is.
It
is.
has a lot
I wouldn't
to
say
do
that
with your brain development and your ability to communicate with others.
Yes,
I
but
guess
like,
you can make
again-
up for it if you're learning different foreign languages and stuff like that. But we're talking to be, as an American,
How
as
about
somebody
coding?
who writes, and when I'm trying to communicate with somebody with English, if I write you a letter in cursive and I send it to you and you send it back to me, say you can't read my scribble, what do you think I'm going to think of you?
Yeah, exactly. But if it's
I'm
like
not
I
gonna
write
take
you a
you
letter,
seriously.
but if I write you a letter in a different language, knowing that you probably don't know this, is the same like theory there, right?
Yeah, but you're
Where it's
speaking to
gonna
me
be
in
like,
English. I'm
why should-
assuming that you know how to read
Yeah.
and write
Yeah,
handwriting.
but if the rest of the world writes in print and you're the only one writing cursive, you're the weird one.
Yeah.
No,
it's
I'm
gonna
the
be like,
most
why do you
intelligent
expect me to
one.
know?
You're gonna be the old boomer. Like, look at this guy. He's fucking in the past.
Yeah, and I can outclass any of you.
But also that's the mindset that leads you to losing your job when you
I
don't
can
like
go back
adapt
and I can
with-
actually
to the new
read
framework.
my country's history. You can't. Who's the weird
Well,
one?
by that point, I can just use AI to read the cursive for me.
Or just not even just use
Translate it.
AI. All the information
You're
would
going
be
to trust the algorithm,
over
okay?
into text, right?
Rely
So
on AI.
I
See,
can-
that's a
I can
weakness,
actually
because you're
read
relying
them.
on technology. You just handicapped yourself. I mean, AI doesn't make you stronger; it makes you weaker. It makes you dependent. You're dependent on that thing. You're not independent.
Does a
You
calculator
understand?
maybe? Am I dependent on a calculator if I use that to do like complicated math? If I do calculus with calculators, is that worse?
What's wrong with pencil and paper and do math problems on paper? Can you do that?
I didn't say anything's wrong with it. I didn't say anything's wrong with it. You're saying the calculator is
See,
bad.
This is what I'm talking about. Where we're on the threshold of population collapse because this younger generation that's coming up, these millennials and Gen Zs, you're becoming too complacent. You're becoming too lazy.
Oh no, it's about efficiency, right? Like I type in a calculus problem into
Well,
a
you're gonna
calculator
candy code it.
because I want the answer as quickly as possible, right? I still have to
Why?
have understanding on how to plug that in, right? I still understand calculus to the same level you do. I just don't write it down. You understand that's what technology has always been used for, to essentially streamline some sort of effect, right? Like earlier when I brought up the plow.
It tells me that you're dependent on technology. In other words, you people can't survive without your credit cards and your cell phones.
Again, I'm not
we got hit by a Carrington event, an EMP, all technology gets wiped out. We're knocked back to the Stone Age. Then what? What are you going to do? What skills do you have to
I'll go back to
survive?
being a pig farmer. It'll be fine.
Where's your map quest at? See, I have a map and a compass. I know how to read a map and a compass. I can get my ass from point A to point B. Can you?
Yeah, but assuming there's no apocalypse coming up, like we don't need those skills. We should be equipped to live in the society of today.
The future, what's going to happen? You can't. This is why there's such a large prepper community that's anti-technology. Here, on YouTube and on the internet. That when they go out into the wilderness, they leave their phones in their car.
How can you be an anti-technology prepper when you utilize YouTube for your? I'm sorry, that seems kind of off point.
Because they come back and educate each other and share their knowledge on how to survive without technology.
Wait. Let me touch on that. Without technology, you're not being able to share this information out, right?
Am I really having this conversation with these guys, Sarah?
Well, yes, because that again, you're saying that technology inherently makes you a dumber or fucking weaker, right?
I don't think you guys just listen to what you just said. How can I put this? You're familiar with what was that dude's name? Bear Grylls, right? The survivalist, right?
Yep.
He takes his camera, and he goes out into the field and he shows you how survival techniques, and he posts it up online for you to learn. Okay, he's just, it's just a tool to share information with, But what happens when you don't have those tools anymore? How do you survive?
Okay,
let me
if you don't
interrupt
have
for
the
just
tools,
a moment.
then you're not
since
going to
we-
survive, right? But
since-
the general
Pardon me for
populace.
just a moment.
One second,
Hold on, just
Hornet.
a second, Hornet.
Time out.
Since you guys have been getting extended times, nobody's jumped backstage to hop on panel, so I'm not going to obviously boot anybody if there's nobody to replace you. So I'm just going to keep pushing the timer back to 5 minutes until somebody jumps backstage. So if anybody's
good
out
sign.
there,
Everybody's
that is-
engaged.
well, yeah, I guess, but I do want to see movement. It would be fun. But anyway, Smoky Guru comes in with the $4.99. He says, "Oh God, another doomer boomer." Thank you, Smokey. We appreciate you. And Rude Mud Crab comes in with a $5. Are you weaker or dependent because you can drive and don't have to walk? No, you want to live in the past to prepare for the past. That's tarded. Thank you, Rude Mud Crab. Appreciate you.
I still ride my mountain bike. Just saying.
Yeah, if I could jump in, I happen to like the prepper community. Like I really like that stuff. I really get into, and being self-sufficient, using resources. I like to lean into that, but I'm also really heavily technology efficient. Like I have
But is it
cellular-
prepper community or the homestead community?
Maybe a little bit of both. I never actually really did much of it, but I would have my little stock of things. I'd read books. I can do in-field certain things that I just happen to find useful. I'm all about just getting skill sets. And the way that I see it, the way that I would answer Bullet's question is no, it doesn't make you dumb. It's just a particular skill set that you learn. When I did my cellular sales background, I had to help a lot of very smart homesteaders, people that could live off the land, but they didn't know crap about their phone. And obviously, yeah, if you take something that somebody knows well and then take them out of their element, of course they're going to look stupid. But the fact of the matter is that cell phones, growing a garden, learning about solar power, stuff like that. Those are all just skill sets. So if you possess like one really, really great skill set, that doesn't necessarily make you more intelligent than somebody else who possesses another really great skill set.
I do agree because I think it all comes down to information, and I don't see how like information, whether it's a book or on the internet, is more valuable. That being said, I do think there's been an issue exacerbated by the internet, particularly places like TikTok, where there's a lot of maybe like quick cut information or straight up inaccurate information that's kind of put out there. It's kind of tangential to AI, but these are also based on algorithms. So I wonder if that's something maybe we can explore.
Yeah, like so when you look at something like a predictive algorithm is going to give you something back, right? So like let's say I'm looking into some sort of theory. Essentially, I think the issue is someone starts with an idea already in their mind and works to essentially on a confirmation bias where you're searching for the thing that you're looking for, right? Like you're searching for the answer that you already have instead of trying to disprove yourself. And I think that's basically the issue that we're running into currently with like YouTube and like all these other like platforms.
Yeah, but in the shit hit the fan scenario, in a Walking Dead scenario, you're not going to have YouTube. You're not going to have cell phones. You're not going to have your iPads or anything like that.
You also won't have to worry about AI in an apocalypse.
What are you going to do?
Unless it's an AI apocalypse. Terminator, Skynet.
Yeah, at that point, like you said earlier, like my skill set would change to adapt to that current fucking shit, right? Like, so I'm gonna have to learn to do these things. I'm gonna have to do this, right? But we're not living in that world currently. I'm not gonna base my skill set on if something happens, right? I'm basing my skill set where I'm at currently and being like, okay, I have to function in normal and mundane society and fucking drive my car, use the internet, do all these things with tech.
That's Michelle, a quick question.
Here's
Michelle.
what we're gonna do.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a quick question. Can you hunt, kill, dress, and cook your own deer?
Sure. Yeah, I have before.
Okay, cool. All right, just check.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. Garuda Legends is backstage again. Now, technically, Lizard Tree already paid to boot you for the evening, so I'm only giving you 2 minutes on panel. All right, and then Bullets, you've been voted, so I'm just gonna swap you out for a whole 2 minutes, Garuda.
Sorry.
Huh?
I was just gonna say I can milk a cow. Like I'm old school farm girl too. Yeah.
And Smoky Guru has purchased Hornet's safety for the evening, so you're staying on. You're not getting added to the polls for the rest of the evening. All right,
damn.
I'm just gonna switch you for
Apparently
2 minutes.
There's some people out there that can't write in handwriting, I'm guessing.
Stand
Can't
by,
write in
Bullets.
cursive.
Just
Okay,
give me
later.
2 minutes. You'll be right back up. All
I remember
right,
that
Garuda.
moment, like in third grade. They're like, "You're going to write in cursive the rest of your life," and they were lying so much.
Exactly.
like,
I've
we're
never
hard about that,
used
right?
it. I never used it. I've never dropped and fucking rolled on the floor because I was on fire. Like,
Do you print
I
your
thought
name
these
in-
things were going to happen all the time.
And you know what? Every single time that I ever referenced like the Declaration of Independence or the Gettysburg Address or whatever, like I never pulled up like a picture and read it ever. I pulled up a text of it. So it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's on Wikipedia. You don't have to.
Yeah. It, my kids really I remember like I was journaling for a time period and my kids saw me writing in cursive and they thought it was pretty weird, and I'm just like, yeah, I guess you guys don't do this. So
Do you sign your name as a signature or do you print it?
I sign my name as a signature.
Mhm.
So
I don't know how else to sign my name. Like that's
Yeah,
the only way
no,
I've
I
ever
can't.
done it.
I can't.
That's the only time I
couldn't
use
just
cursive.
write it. Like it'd
I
be
had to
weird.
relearn to sign my name after I burned the muscles off the back of my hands off.
Ooh.
I had
Oh, yeah, I
some
remember
issues
that,
with the
too.
banking system. It was like I went in and like did some signatures and stuff, and then like 8 months later, I went back and realized I was going to have to sign some stuff, and I went, "Ooh, okay," and realized I didn't know how to. I couldn't make my hand do the things that it had done before because the way I did it had been burned off.
OPC, you should join the call because I looked into the neural networking things, but I don't think I know it as much as you. So you should hop in and explain.
Yeah, let's go. Garuda, you know you're on, right? 24 seconds.
Oh, am I on?
You've been on. You only have 16 seconds.
Maybe give
60
15
seconds,
more.
Like I'm smarter than that because my neurological brain works more than the little Fagel Rock little brain. So I'm way smarter than any of them. So 4 seconds left. I'm smarter than them. So that's all I have to do.
All right, thanks, Garuda. Bullets, you're back.
You got to admit, he did bring it home right there at the end.
Yeah, but see, I always respect the super chats because Lizard Tree, I appreciate you giving me the reins back, but you paid a good amount to boot him for the night, so he's been booted. I only brought him for 2 minutes just to change it up a little bit. But yeah, back to you guys.
So where were we?
I don't know. I'm completely off base in my brain now. I'm thinking about food.
Earlier we were talking about the dumbing of people. I don't know what's connected to AI, but it does seem to be linked to maybe like the media of consumption. I'm calling out TikTok in
I don't know.
particular.
Like, I feel like you guys don't use your resources. I feel like I've gotten like smarter, like as
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Come up where like everything is so accessible to me. Like I could just get my answers so fast, and I don't know. I would not want to go back and have to go through like the Dewey Decimal System and reference books and shit like that to like get the answers that I can get in 2 seconds that I can nowadays. Like literally just for I can
you
learn
make it
more
sound like it's such a
in, like,
bother.
the time period that it takes me to look something up, and that has value.
It does.
In other words, you're complacent. You're complacent.
I would say it's efficient.
Hold on just a second. I went ahead, since we're in the final like 20-30 minutes, because it is kind of a slower evening, so we're going to let it be kind of copacetic this evening. We're just going to go ahead into full open panel and compliments of Lizard Tree, because Lizard Tree sent in another 50 and said bring him back, and I didn't want to boot anybody else at this point because we're kind of, I feel like the conversation's almost in a final point, and there's only so much we can say in regards to AI, I think, and we've spun a lot of wheels this evening. So back to you guys, and everybody say thank you to Lizard Tree. That was so thoughtful.
Can I say one more thing related to the original topic?
Man, I hope you got your money's worth.
Bullets. Yes, I am 100% complacent and spoiled and entitled, and I will take my ice cream on the terrace with my spoiled entitlement. Thank you.
Do you think you could survive a Walking Dead scenario?
Let me interrupt you just for one moment. Hold on for a second. Sasquatch, you wanted to make your exit?
I'm good. I just got to dip out. I got some adulty type things to do. You know, Papa Squatch is never done. You know how it is.
Fair enough. Did you want to make a closing statement to the panel?
No, I got to run. Much love. I appreciate it.
See you, Sasquatch.
Bye, Sasquatch.
Nice meeting you, Sasquatch.
Peace out, y'all.
See ya.
Before I forget, I want to make this one point, and it is related to the original topic. So I was a little bit quiet because I was trying to do some research. I don't know if you all know this, but sorry. We got some new people in here. But I will forget this. I want to get it out. I was actually kind of surprised. IQ has actually kind of dropped in the last couple of years, and particularly up in like between 2008 and 2018, and it's continued to drop. I do wonder if there's a concern, because I do think there'll be. I think there'll be less jobs. I think also those are going to be higher IQ jobs, as we're going to see a lot of the more mundane, repetitive task jobs be done by AI or robots. So I wonder if there'll be an issue where we'll be increasingly asking for higher IQ rates for these jobs, but also people are kind of getting dumber.
So, one thing first, I just want to introduce myself.
Yeah. Sorry,
I was in the chat. A lot of this conversation about AI and how it's going to overtake humanity kind of reminds me of if we were just passing a joint around and then speculating about the future. So I felt I needed to chime in, because there's definitely sort of a lapse in awareness of how it's really being used in reality in business, and maybe where it's growing. So,
well, I have a couple questions. What's a good IQ, and then two, where do I test my IQ? I'd like to find out where I stand.
There's different degrees of IQ. You know, it just really depends.